talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan van range. Scoring a winning hat-trick of performance, payload and price. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your latest sports headlines, I'm Matt Hutchinson. Good afternoon. Several senior players at Spurs are not buying into Thomas Frank's methods, and the dressing room has become a toxic place. That's according to our chief football correspondent Alex Crook, who thinks it's just a matter of time until the manager leaves. And ahead of Borussia Dortmund, Frank is missing a bunch of players.
At least Mickey van der Ven, for me, is their best defender, so it's hard really to make a case for Spurs winning that game. If they lose again, I think his days are numbered, unfortunately, because I love Thomas Frank, but you have to admit it's just not worked out at all, has it?
And here's what the fans have been telling talkSPORT today.
His football's too negative for a Tottenham team.
When is people going to learn and understand, right, that we are run badly?
Too many Spurs fans are absolutely deluded, thinking we've got some divine right to be challenging.
Spurs Dortmund is live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Elsewhere this afternoon, former Palace coach Sean Derry is surprised Oliver Glasner's still in a job. That's after the Palace boss said he felt abandoned. We're told Callum Wilson isn't leaving West Ham this January following his late winner at Spurs. talkSPORT also understands the Hammers are close to signing Deportivo winger Kaiber Lamadrid on loan. And Stuart Pearce has told us any teams walking off the pitch should forfeit the game. Senegal head coach Papa Thiaw led his side off. They were protesting refereeing decisions during the AFCON final.
I didn't see the issues that they took the players off the pitch for being that contentious that I thought, he's got a point there. I could see why he done that.
Well, Morocco have called the 17-minute delay shameful. Senegal eventually beat them in extra time. And Sadio Mane has confirmed it was his final AFCON appearance.
talkSPORT News.
Sir Keir Starmer isn't convinced Donald Trump will use force to take over Greenland, and Prince Harry's 9-week civil trial against the publishers of the Daily Mail is underway at the High Court. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Whatever the winter weather, Bridgestone Turanza all-season 6 tyres. Guaranteed for 25,000 miles. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
We're expecting a cloudy afternoon in many parts of the UK, with patches of rain for some.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT. Where this afternoon, Andy, please tell us what's coming up.
Well, coming up over the next 3 hours, Danny Kelly joins us to go game by game through the Premier League weekend. We'll have all the fallout from a chaotic AFCON final. And Hull striker Ollie Burney on his hopes, McBurnie, that should be there.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you feel free to read it first.
On his hopes, well, I trust you, on his hopes for a Scotland recall and his low sock origin story.
Yeah, that'll teach you to trust me. We're also after those sporting situations.
It has to be my fault.
Where you couldn't possibly lose, but did. And we're joined by the team behind a new Newcastle United themed play, currently on a West End run.
There's all this plus how British table tennis is riding the Marty Supreme wave. And former Brighton defender Adam Virgo looks ahead to tonight's talkSPORT commentary game against Bournemouth.
That's right, a busy show as always. It is 6 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy.
Yes, good afternoon, Paul. It's quite a strange weekend's football, really.
It's not the word I'd use, what I sat through, but there we are.
No, honestly, we came out of I sent my Brentford mate. I said, that is the most undeserved, convincing Premier League win I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It should have been 4-2 to Brentford, that game.
Yeah.
It was a strange old game, really.
Early days. I saw
won.
João Pedro saying nice things about the coach, though. Saying,
I think it was one good sign, because I was very critical after the Arsenal game. He was asking Sanchez to play out from the back every single time, so that's a massive error, putting a lot of pressure on him. And he obviously thought the same thing, because on Saturday he was allowed to played about 4 or 5 passes long, and he's got a good right foot, he's got a good long pass. And just mixing it up makes sense, doesn't it? So it's got to be a better idea, really.
Yeah.
This is good, though. This was in the paper this morning. Noni Madueke has criticised his teammates for not being clinical enough in their goalless draw at Nottingham Forest. And then he says, we weren't clinical enough in front of God. So he's including him, so he's not really criticising his mates.
No, he's including...
Stop trying to mix it.
Criticising himself. Yes, so I'm off to the game tomorrow night, the pre-Heitinger era match. It's interesting, though, isn't it? I mean, look, you do get the sense his days are numbered, Thomas Frank. And it's cowardly by the board, what they're doing. It's pretty clear their plan tomorrow night is just to send him out there. They've got a really weak inside, as Crookie was just saying there. They've got a lot of suspensions, a lot of injuries. I think they've only got 2 fit midfielders who can potentially play, and they're both kids. They're going to have no choice. Dortmund, pretty tidy side, second in the Bundesliga. And so they're just putting him on offer. They don't want to put Heitinger in there tomorrow night because they don't want his first game to potentially be a shoeing from Dortmund. So it's cowardly, isn't it? You just send the bloke out there, then you sack him on Wednesday and say, obviously, results have not been good enough. But it is kind of indicative of the way Nick have run the club. I could be wrong. Maybe they're hoping it goes spectacularly well. And if he is listening now, which I doubt very much, I'd say go out, Butch and Sundance, Thomas. There's a pretty good chance you're done, really. But there could be an opportunity to... Because that crowd, honestly, it's a night under the lights in Europe in the all-white kit. If the team get on the front foot and they show a bit and they try and score and they attack, then the crowd will get behind them. There's been games when they've done exactly that. That's all we're crying out for. But so often they retreat into their shell. We see bizarre substitutions that absolutely kill the momentum. It's almost like self-sabotage at times. I don't quite get it.
I think the biggest problem for him, he's got 2 problems, I think, is Keith Andrews' success at Brentford.
Yeah, which tells you that the structure at Brentford, I mean, he was a cog in the wheel, but the wheel was pretty important.
That's it. And, and Keith Andrews has done a great job, but let's be honest, it's the recruitment.
And that's after losing their 2 best players, effectively.
Yeah. So, that exposes him. And also, Ange, when Thomas Frank has had Van der Ven and Romero the whole season, basically. When Ange had them, he had a lot more success than Thomas Frank had. They looked a lot more solid. So they're just things that just don't look good for him. I don't see how...
So, look, all the ingredients are there to say goodbye, including, stuff coming out the dressing room, which is often a bad sign. So there's players that are not having him for whatever reason. So why make him go into that tomorrow night? It can only be because they don't want the spotlight shone on them. They just want to throw him to the Lions. So that is cowardly. I saw a bit of... there's a few cowards on the pitch, to be honest. The players aren't getting away with it. It was interesting. The one man that was constantly crying out for the ball and wanting to do something and wanted to get on the ball was Matty's Tell, and he took him off again. He took him off in the game. I mean, you're just incredulous.
He had a great chance early in the...
Yeah, no, he should have done better. And his finishing isn't stunning, but at least he was wanting to get on the ball. And I saw quite a few of those players who didn't want the responsibility when it was going wrong.
Vicario as well. I mean, blimey, that wasn't great, was it?
No, but with you can put him under pressure, and we know it's a high bar. You can normally punch a goalkeeper in the face, and it'll still be allowed these days. So certainly, just touching someone's hand's not going to get it.
I thought that myself. I was watching because it's right in front of me where we sit, and at the corner, the amount of stuff that goes on, and they stand on the guy. It is obstructing the keeper.
Exactly.
The keeper can't take off properly.
Whatever happened to obstruction? To paraphrase Arthur Smith,
it's obstruction. It's not right. I don't think, but it's the way it's gone. But
we've gone from being a completely overprotected species you couldn't get anywhere near to basically doing what you like to keepers.
All right, you could say, well, he's just standing on the pitch. Well, you've got a bloke standing in front of him and a bloke standing behind him. How's he supposed to move?
Also, if you've got somebody holding your hands down as the ball's coming in, that's not great either, but that's allowed. And we saw, didn't we, at the weekend? We see incidents happen in Premier League games, and then the bar, for some reason, either gets lower or higher depending on what happened in the previous game. So the Dalot tackle, for example, suddenly the bar's very high there and it's only a glancing blow. I mean, do me a favour, we could all remember a game. I remember one when Basuma got sent off against Forest. He caught Yates. It was literally a glancing blow on his knee. His foot was high. Off he went. It was nowhere near as bad.
Everybody thought that was a red card.
We can all look back at incidents where our players have been sent off for less than that.
Caicedo by Taylor.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. So, we'll all have a case.
We should have done that game should have done a Senegal and walked off.
But it's just, I mean, honestly, if we're going to have inconsistent officials, let's just have 3. We can all live with 3. We don't need another 4 or 5 or 6 blokes in a cupboard near Heathrow, do we?
They're not
making it worse because they're doing the same things. It's just so useless.
And talkSPORT's Jeff Stelling is in the news, actually.
Oh, okay.
Quite interesting. He said that the FIFA should strip the World Cup from the USA and think about holding it over here. So that would be Canada, Mexico and Britain. That's a good idea for a World Cup. Well done, Jeff. Tremendous.
The travelling will be a bit excessive, won't it? Yeah.
And it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, no. It's just, I think it takes a lot longer to organise a World Cup than that, really. Yeah. Let's put on the show right here.
Well,
it's not the Hartlepool Church Hall, is it?
They could, but, it's not going to happen.
Well, they probably could, but of course it's not going to happen. Anyway, something to get going on today. How did you manage to lose sports-wise, or whatever, when it was impossible to lose? Pakistan TV, they broke a 232-year-old record. They successfully defended the lowest total in first-class cricket. They beat Suey Northern in the President's Trophy.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they made up a sort of like TV presenter.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think the
or newsreaders.
Fred the weatherman, he plays up. He opens the batting. The wicket keeper's like the vision mixer. It's great. But well done to Pakistan TV. Set a target of 40 runs to win. Suey Northern were bowled out for 37 in the National Stadium in Karachi.
Was the groundsman from Perth?
Yeah, that's true. The previous record.
Bad wicket, must it?
I mean, to break a record this old, the previous record was held by Oldfield when they defended 41 against Marylebone Cricket Club, or
not
the MCC.
Mike Oldfield.
Not Mike Oldfield, no. Tubular Bales was his big hit, of course.
Good.
Yeah, they weren't even the MCC; they were actually Marylebone Cricket Club. That was in 1794. So when was it impossible to lose, but you still managed to do it? Tell us the circumstances around it. talksport.com, text 81089, tweet to TSH&J. Get in touch this afternoon, 03717223344. Give us a call. Ollie McBurnie's joining us for a chat, going rather well at Hull. Bit of talk about Scotland for him. He hasn't played for about 2 or 3 years, but he has been playing very well, and I'm sure, the manager will be looking, Steve Clarke will be looking at some options, and we're looking for the low sock origin story from Ollie as well a little bit later on. We're going to reflect on his time in Spain as well. Danny Kelly's going to join us before all of that. And even before that, Stephen Corker will join us. Plenty to talk about with him. Bit of Spurs, bit of Liverpool, 2 of his former clubs. And, of course, AFCON. He played in the finals for Sierra Leone. And that was crazy last night. I was watching it all unfold and... on our little WhatsApp group on the show, we were pinging back and forth. Andy was watching the great pottery throwdown, and we were trying to get you to turn over, but you wouldn't have it, would you?
Well, Sue likes it.
It was just mayhem. We had like a head injury that took 15 minutes.
Yeah,
it seemed to take ages. Then the game, and there's 2 really. I thought they were quite sketchy decisions. You seem to think they were fine. I know Stuart did as well, but. They could have gone either way, both of them. But
they weren't walk off the pitch, were they?
No, but I think that was just... And I'm not having Brahim Diaz did that on purpose. If he wanted to do that on purpose and make a statement, he would have put it round the post. He wouldn't have panenkered it into the guy's hands.
No. And also, he was absolutely gutted after he did it. His reaction, I can't believe people think he did it.
I mean, he just would have put it wide, wouldn't he? If he just kicked it towards the corner flag.
He just wouldn't have done it. Why would he want to do that?
Anyway, we'll be picking through the bones of that. We're going to get Stephen's take on it. Later on, new play in the West End, little limited run for Jerry and Sewell. And we'll tell you more about that. It's got a Newcastle United theme. We'll also be talking a bit of table tennis. Martley Supreme is out doing very, very well. Some say the film of the year, and maybe it'll get people into table tennis, and maybe some people will be heading to London for the World Championships that are taking place in 100 days' time. Liam Pritchard is one of the stars of British table tennis, and he's going to join us to have a chat. Adam Virgo on tonight's game between Brighton and Bournemouth, which we bring you live on talkSPORT, and I think we're going to try and bring you some of the Thomas Frank press conference at 3:30 as well. But anyway, it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. We're here with Tool Station. Stay one step ahead, whatever the job. Next stop, Tool Station.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology. How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on Talk Sport. Well, plenty to get stuck into with our next guest, a man who played for Liverpool, Spurs, and played at AFCON. So all very much stories in the news. Former defender Stephen Corker joins us. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, good afternoon to you both.
Good afternoon, yeah. Well, we've got to start with all the mayhem last night at AFCON. I mean, it was just absolutely crazy, wasn't it?
It was, and you know what? It was a shame to see because it's been a really, really good tournament. There's been a lot of talent on show. The big teams have all turned up. They've all performed, which I think is partly down to the fact that the pitch quality has been top. Morocco have hosted a fantastic tournament, and as I said, there's been so much talent on show, but it gets overshadowed with moments like that yesterday. And I don't know what went on, but the reports are saying today that Sadio Mane spoke to the players in the changing room and managed to motivate them to come back out. Thank God he did that. I played with Sadio. He's a great guy. He's a humble guy. He wouldn't want AFCON final to end in that way, and I'm so glad it did, and at least they got back out on the pitch and played the rest of the game. But of course, from a Morocco point of view, they're arguing that it put Brahim Diaz off, and I don't know how much they can argue, because when you try Panica in that moment, I don't know, you have to score. If you're going to do that, you have to score. So I'm not sure he's got many excuses, but it did overshadow what's been a really good tournament.
Friend of the show, Richard Cracknell, said Mendy should have turned his back on it and let the goal go in. I thought he could have turned his back on it and still saved it.
Yeah,
really, he wouldn't have moved.
Why should he do that? Why should any player do any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hold with
nature.
I don't know where you stand. The Brahim Diaz, the idea that he deliberately missed it. If he was going to do that, he would have put it round the post. He wouldn't have put it on target, would he? Because there was always a chance Mendy could have dived. So I don't particularly hold with that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's absolute nonsense. I mean, why would Diaz take that upon his shoulders? He'd be the most hated man in Morocco right now. I played in Africa. I know just how passionate the fans are there. This won't be forgotten overnight. I don't think any player would take that responsibility especially to do it in that style. If you've been told to miss the penalty, blast it over or blast it wide. But I think he was slightly overconfident. He's had a good tournament. He scored a lot of goals, and ultimately, not only has he paid the price, Morocco have paid the price, because Senegal have gone on to win it. And I have to be honest, I'm quite glad they did, because in my opinion, neither of them, I don't believe it was a foul on Hakimi. I thought the goal should have stood for Senegal. I don't believe it was a penalty in the first place. So I'm glad, in my opinion, that justice was served and Senegal came out on top.
It's going to be interesting in the World Cup, because, I mean, they thrashed England last summer, and they're a good side.
They are.
Nobody's really... They're in Norway and France in their group or something?
Yeah, no, they are a good side.
Good team.
The other thing as well, some of the other stuff that was going on with the sub-keeper for Senegal trying to get the towel. Trying to get the towel to Mendy. And not just some of the ball boys, but even some of the Moroccan subs trying to stop him doing it. I mean, it all looked a bit Hackney Marshes. I'm surprised that was allowed to go on in a tournament as big as this.
Yeah, it was. I'll be honest with you. Listen, AFCON's always full of drama, and it always brings us moments like this. This is why it's so well covered around the world. But it was a strange moment. I mean, a bit like the opening ceremony, if I'm honest. I remember covering it for a TV channel at the time, and it was so unexpected that the Prince just walked onto the pitch and took 10 minutes to shake everyone's hand. So, listen, in Africa, these things can happen. Bizarre, he's literally just trying to give a towel to Mendy to wipe away the sweat. So, these bizarre things happen. Like I said, I don't want it to. Unfortunately, it has. It's overshadowed what's been a good tournament.
Yeah.
And Senegal won't care less about all of this. They're going home with Sadio Mane's got 2 AFCON trophies. He's led the team to the victory. And as I said, it's a good day for West Africa. But of course, the North African giants, Morocco, will be upset that it ended in such a
chaotic, I suppose.
Way.
Yeah, indeed.
Chaotic, unfortunate. I'm trying to find the word, because I'm trying to say it in the nicest way possible, but they've had an absolute mare with what took place in the final minutes of that game.
Let's talk about Liverpool. 32 shots, 11 on target, 1 goal. These are funny old times, aren't they? A few boos, a smattering of boos at the end of the game, 1-1 draw with Burnley. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, if the penalty goes in, I think it would have been a different game. Liverpool seem to be having a real strange season. You know, they started off well, they weren't performing well, but they got the points on the board. They then had a huge dip. We had all the drama with Salah. There was talk of Arne Slot, whether he was comfortable in his position. They then seemed to have turned a corner. He seemed to have got it going with the diamond in midfield and his main three up front. And then they just seem to have sort of ran out of steam. I don't really know what's going on. It's been a really strange season. Even just slightly above them in the table, you've got 3 teams there that none of them seem to want to win the league. Yeah. You know, all of them are stumbling right now. So it's been a strange season, but what it has done is mean that there's still things to play for. So top 4 is everyone's game. You know, there's so many teams that will be licking their lips. Man United now with Carrick back in charge. And I don't know, Liverpool are going to have to be careful because they're going to at least need to finish the season in top 4 after all this money being spent to make sure they're able to balance the books.
Yeah. They're not losing, but they're kind of misfiring. Soboslai, though, he's having a real mixed bag.
Yeah.
Period. That back heel, scored a great goal, header off the line, then he missed the penalty. It's really...
Yeah, it's a bit of a soap opera for him at the moment. Just final word on Spurs. You were there, you were with us for talkSPORT at the Spurs-West Ham game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you'd been there recently, but as you could tell, it was pretty toxic at the end. It's not often that you hold a whole stand of singing, you're getting sacked in the morning to their own manager. I was saying earlier on, I feel it's a bit cowardly of the board to do what they're doing, to make him go up tomorrow night, almost setting him up for a fall with the amount of injuries and suspensions Spurs have got. But, you know, I don't expect much better, really.
They should have gone on to win the game, really.
Absolutely. I mean,
momentum.
They just haven't got the quality up front or the belief up front at the moment. You probably witnessed that, as I did. I was there to get that second goal.
I think, as you mentioned there, the key word is belief. They lacked a lot of belief. I actually feel they lacked a little bit of effort, if I'm honest, especially first half. You know, we could talk about formations, we can talk about, you know, team selection, but ultimately, no matter what 11 he picks on the pitch, as a player, you have to go out there and play for self-respect. I didn't see that in the first half, and West Ham could have been 3-0 up.
Yeah.
Second half, there was a little bit more urgency, a little bit more desire, but it fizzled out. And right now, Spurs' home form is unacceptable. Thomas Frank will be the first to admit that. What I'm concerned about is, and I was debating with Jamie O'Hara about it after the game, is if Spurs do decide to go another direction, what next? That'll be 8 managers. If they go get a new manager in, that'll be 8 managers since Pochettino. 8 managers in the last 6 years, including 2 interim. Where's the consistency?
No, I know. I mean, I don't want another manager sacked. I'm just looking at the situation at the moment, and I can't. To be honest, I mean, they bring in Johnny Heitinga tomorrow or Wednesday when the axe falls, I guess. I mean, you might as well see the rest of the season out. Then they're probably not going down, although I'm less sure about that after Saturday. They're not going to get into Europe. They're just going to, you know, tread water to the end of the season when there'll be better options. I don't really see. In some ways, there's not much point changing Frank at the moment. It is a bit waving the white flag, but I mean, I think it has got toxic, and the dressing room starting to leak, Steve, as you've been hearing. So it's only going in one direction. A tough game tomorrow night with a lot of injuries and suspensions and players not able to play.
I just feel that Thomas Frank's hands are tied at the moment. I really do. I think that, you know, at the start of the season, they would have sat him down and they would have had a plan. And I'm sure that plan would have been longer than a 6-7 month plan. Yeah. That plan would have been over the next few years to get Tottenham back to fighting for Champions League places. No, last year, we can't, you know, of course, the Europa League masked a lot of what it was, but in the league, they were very, very, very poor.
Yeah.
So Thomas Frank's having to build on top of that, and he is finding it difficult at home. That's clear to see. The players are finding it difficult at home, but I just don't believe sacking another manager is going to be the answer for Spurs. If you look at City, they've stuck with Pep for how many years? You look at Arsenal, they stuck with Arteta and they look like they're about to reap the rewards this year. And of course, you look at Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp, they stuck with him for 9 years. So the 3 best teams in the country over the last 7-8 years have stuck with their manager. I would like to see Spurs do the same.
You could see green shoots with those. I know exactly what you mean, but obviously I'm watching them every week. And there are no signs. All the things he was brought in to do, he's not doing. He's not improving players. The culture of the club has not changed. We were told that's what Thomas Frank would bring. The results are terrible. The performances are terrible. The football's awful. I know what you mean, Stephen. I feel the same in a lot of ways. I'm very conflicted, but yeah. Look, we'll pick this up. We'll speak to you soon. Thanks very much for joining us. There we go. Stephen Corker there, formerly of Spurs, Liverpool, and of course Sierra Leone. We're going to talk a bit about AFCON later on. Danny Kelly up with us next to go game by game through the Premier League weekend.
We're told several senior Spurs players are not buying into Thomas Frank's methods and the dressing room's become a toxic place. Our chief football correspondent Alex Crook thinks it's a matter of when, not if, Frank goes. And head of Borussia Dortmund, Frank's missing a bunch of players.
Look, at least Mickey van der Ven, who for me is their best defender, so it's hard really to make a case for Spurs winning that game. If they lose again, I think his days are numbered, unfortunately, because I love Thomas Frank, but you have to admit it's just not worked out at all, is it?
Here's what the fans are telling talkSPORT today.
His football's too negative for a Tottenham team.
When is people going to learn and understand, right, that we are run badly?
Too many Spurs fans are absolutely deluded, thinking we've got some divine right to be challenging.
Spurs Dortmund is live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Now, former Crystal Palace coach Sean Derry surprised Oliver Glasner's still in a job. That's after Glasner saying he felt abandoned. We're told West Ham's Callum Wilson isn't going anywhere this January following his late winner at Spurs. We understand Alexander Zinchenko could leave Nottingham Forest to join Ajax on loan. And Stuart Pearce has told White and Jordan, if you walk off the field, you should forfeit the game. That's after Senegal head coach Pape Thor led his side off in protest at refereeing decisions during the AFCON final.
I didn't see the issues that they took the players off the pitch for being that contentious that I thought, oh, he's got a point there. I could see why he done that.
Just a reminder that the talkSPORT Daily podcast out now. Majestic and Alan Pardew, they're going to reveal all the weekend's action. They're going to talk about Spurs, West Ham, Palace and everything that's going on there behind the scenes. The title race hotting up and Arsenal feeling like they would have blown points on Saturday evening to see Villa lose against Everton at the weekend. So if you want to hear more, talkSPORT Daily available on all podcast platforms now. We're going to go game by game through the Premier League weekend. Danny Kelly joins us as always. Good afternoon, Danny.
Good afternoon, ever joyous as always. Paul.
Yeah, indeed. Top of the morning to you.
Oh dear.
Let's start with, it was a pretty tedious, I mean, unless you're an Evertonian and a Wolves fan, I guess. It wasn't the most stunning of Super Sundays, the most super of Super Sundays. Let's start with Villa, shall we, against Everton. Well done to Everton. That was a great performance. It could have been
3-0.
A whole lot more comfortable. That was a
perfectly good goal disallowed, and they hit the post.
And one of the, I mean, honestly, what's a save by Pickford from the Morgan Rogers shot? That was just amazing.
That was about the one thing he did in the game. I mean, it was very interesting. I was talking about Villa when they were on that 11-game winning run. So he's doing what Cole Palmer did. They're getting away with it. If you look at their stats, it's him that's doing it and winning them points. Yeah. And he didn't do it yesterday, and they lost the game.
He did. I mean, that was. I mean, that would have beaten most goalkeepers, though. He would argue that was one.
That was a great shot. Yeah. But it was his one moment in the game. Really missed a lot of chances.
I mean, look, Aston Villa, a really good team with a brilliant manager. But runs of 11 home wins on the spin, they have to end sometime. And it almost like it wasn't their day. I hate to be so unscientific about it, but when Merlin roll, and who doesn't love a person called Merlin roll?
Of course.
When Merlin magically hit the post after 11 seconds, you could think, okay, this is looking a bit odd. You don't get very many errors from Martinez, but you could argue he was at fault with the goal. And the injury to John McGinn, really, everything that could happen to bring Aston Villa's run to an end happened against an Everton side that are, who knew, under David Moyes, really well organised. They may not have the highest ceiling of performance, but if you fall below yours, they'll probably take something from you. And they were excellent, actually, by the way. That's not to say they weren't very good, Everton, because I thought they were. But it was one of those days where Aston Villa were tripping over their own feet.
So you wonder why Unai Emery doesn't say that afterwards, just one of those days, I'm not concerned. But he says there are 5 more teams in the Premier League with more potential than us.
Why didn't the reporter, though? The reporter's paid a load of money. Why didn't he name them?
Yes.
He's doing what managers do in January. He wants them to buy players. They've got rid of Marlon. He wants more players. He wants more bodies in the building. I'm not a Villa fan, and there may be a reason for this, but I thought booing Jack Grealish was really poor form. I don't get it. He gave you 8 seasons of everything he had, and you got 100 million quid for him. Why would you boo him when he comes back? I don't quite. Maybe he did something. I don't know. He
said something or did something.
I'm sure Villa fans will know.
Well, they'll tell us. Let us know. Let us know.
On the face of it, it looked like a really poor bit of booing.
Did he give you a bit when he came back with City? I don't know. Let us know. Talksport.com, text 889.
Plenty of booing in the Premier League this week.
Oh, it's boo central. Wolves versus Newcastle, where the Wolves...
I just say that the referee bottled it with the clear push by Garner on Rodgers, which he had to have sent him off.
Yeah.
How could he ignore it? It doesn't matter that you'd have to give him a second yellow. That was a foul. Everybody could see it. It was ludicrous.
No, you're absolutely... No, one of a few decisions we'll come on to that nobody could quite understand. So Wolves 0, Newcastle 0. I was listening to Perry Groves yesterday afternoon on our coverage, and he said... Rob Edwards has given their pride back. He said, last time I came here, I didn't see anything like this. And he said the atmosphere feels different. It's probably too little too late. But, there seems to be a little bit more belief. And he made a very good point. They might not stay up, but the fact they will win a few games and they could affect what goes on in other parts of the table.
Yeah, they'll take points like they did yesterday. They're going to take points off other teams.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you can't have a league where one team just gives all their points to the other teams, regardless. Although that does bring a certain integrity to the competition if they give up all their points. No, Rob Edwards deserves some credit here because they were chaos, weren't they? And we'll talk about Michael Carrick a little later. It may not be the hardest task in the world, but you still have to bring a group of people together and pull them all, in the one direction. They looked organised, they looked committed, and I think critically, in the emergence of Mateus Mane, they've allowed the Wolves fans to forget about the present and even the recent past because there looks like something for the future there. And, all football fans were the same. We can't do anything about what's happened. We can only hope for the future. And I think this kid has gone a long way towards that. Meanwhile, Newcastle, and well done for picking 3 games for the first 15-minute section here, Paul and Andy, with only 1 goal to describe. Meanwhile, Newcastle are stodgy away from home, aren't they? And when they bought Waldemar, he had that very good scoring start to it, but the stats from the Bundesliga showed that fantastic player though he is not an out-and-out striker. He's not a 40-goal-a-season person, and is it 3 in the last 17 or 18? Starting to become not a problem for Newcastle, but they're going to have to realise they can't rely on him to be the main goal scorer. Covered up by Harvey Barnes for the last month, but they've got to... And, of course, then goes confidence. And that header he missed, honestly, you just think... At the start of the season, the goalkeeper would have been not even bothering. He'd just been turning towards the net to pick the thing out. But
they need
really.
more from Visser as well, because he is a goal scorer. Definitely.
Forest 0, Arsenal 0. I think a shock
bonus
result.
point for Forest. You wouldn't have expected.
You wouldn't have expected that. Lip readers would have seen what Declan Rice made of it. I mean, one thing on penalties, the Ola Aina, the penalty situation.
Yeah.
I don't want to see penalties. I don't want to see the one that Scarles had. We're going to come on to Tottenham, West Ham. I mean, and that has no material impact on Conor Gallagher putting in a cross afterwards. How much material impact did that bit of control or otherwise have on the outcome of the game there? Yeah, it's a penalty, but as we said, there was always this sort of tacit agreement between fans and officials. We knew what a deliberate handball was. We knew what handball was, and we would react to it by all shouting en masse, handball. So I don't know about you, Danny. I don't want to see handballs for stuff like that, because in the end, Arsenal will get
it did look a handball, but it would have been very hard.
It would have been. I mean, it would have been. As we were saying, we're surprised they didn't give it, but I'm kind of glad they... Well, I'm not glad they didn't because I'm a Tottenham fan. I'm glad they didn't for the good of the game, really.
Well, in it's almost pointless discussing handball penalties. I'm sorry to say that, Paul, because I like talking, as you know. But it's pointless discussing handball penalties because it's out of control now. The referees, you're right, there used to be an agreement between the officials and the crowd about what was and wasn't handball. Then they took the word deliberate out of it and left it all up to the referee to decide. And they have no more clue now about what constitutes... And the same goes for the VARs. They have no more... idea what constitutes a penalty than I don't know than these stones behind my head on this wall. I didn't think. The Spurs one was more of a penalty than I thought the Nottingham Forest one, but I'd be very happy for neither of them to be given because the players weren't trying to palm the ball away to obstruct the flight of the ball. They were just in the way. And if you have a game as dynamic as football, you're going to have players in the way. And let's be truthful about this. And I think we've said this many times on here. The speed at which the game happens, the chaos at which happens, it is not suitable for replay in slow motion. No. Slow motion makes everything look like it's a foul or an infringement.
Yeah, it's true. 2 points dropped by Arsenal, but it says everything about this season as they actually gained a point on their rival.
They did. And Sells was, again, we're calling out keepers, some great saves from him, keeping them in the game. But as you said, a great point, and in materially, it did make a massive difference to Arsenal, you guess, because of the way the other results went. We're going to be coming on to Liverpool 1, Burnley 1 with Danny Kelly next. We're going to go through every game, all 9 so far. Still 1 to go. Brighton, Bournemouth this evening live on talkSPORT. And Adam Virgo, former Brighton defender, going to join us for a chat about that later. We're here with our good friends at Toolstation. Pick up your wet weather essentials today. Next stop, Toolstation.
And welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology. How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Andy was asking, why do Villa fans boo Jack Grealish? Sam's been in touch. He's a Villa fan. He said, I was at the game yesterday, and I've been the last couple of times Jack has been back. The whole booing is purely just to put him off. Bit of panto, really. Following the game, and every time we play, he's cheered after full time and often comes over to clap us as he did yesterday. And you could see that he was clapping round the ground. Same as Everton away start the season. Following the game, he came over and the crowd was singing Super Jack. So a bit of panto, really. There's no malice in it by the sound of it. Thank you very much, Sam, for clearing that up. We did ask. Liverpool 1, Burnley 1. We're just chatting to Stephen Corker, the former Liverpool defender, about this, Danny. It's an odd sort of run of results for them, isn't it? As we said, 32 shots, 11 on target, and you wouldn't expect maybe Mo Salah coming back could be the difference.
Look, the football is beautiful because you hear me say it all the time. The better team doesn't always win. Liverpool were really, really unfortunate not to win this game, and at the same time, it's a lovely point for Burnley. That's just the nature of these things. It wasn't just the 32 shots, but they had 76 touches in the opposition penalty area. In the age of penalties being given for the slightest thing, plus all the shots, it seems impossible to believe that Liverpool only scored one goal, which of course then leaves you vulnerable to nervousness at the back. I think it was the right wing back who gave the ball away, and suddenly Burnley, Marcus Edwards, lovely finish.
Yeah,
their unbeaten run, Liverpool, is rickety, isn't it? You can see that the Arne Slot is running like one of those old music hall acts from one spinning plate to another, and just about keeping them afloat. They're not convincing, are they? They're just not convincing somehow.
No, I'll tell you one thing though, the Ekitike disallowed goal, not only was it offside, but he handled it. Even VAR couldn't give that one to Liverpool. They love giving Liverpool goals, like the Wirtz one and several over the past seasons, but even they couldn't give that one.
No, okay. And Andy's getting his little two-footer in there.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
Dominic Szoboszlai doesn't miss penalties very often either.
No.
That was also indicative of how Liverpool, the plates are threatening to flop off the little sticks any moment.
He does love a bit of a flourish. We saw of his back heel. Maybe he thought that they'd score again against Burnley, so he deliberately crashed it against the bar for a bit of sport. I don't know. Maybe he did a Brahim Diaz.
The only way that he could have justified that if he'd backheeled the penalty, then would have said, right, this is the way he's playing from now on now.
Sunderland 2, Palace 1. A game that's got more notoriety, really, because of what Oliver Glasner said afterwards. You did kind of sense that, we'd see a picture of a corner flag at Selhurst Park 2 hours later. But it seems they're gonna put up with it. They're gonna stick with him.
I don't see how they can.
Yeah,
it's a very difficult situation.
Paul, you're not betting your card that he's going to be there much longer, are you?
Probably not, no. But I mean,
where they've got a problem is, I was shocked when he said that was Palace's 35th game of the season.
Yeah.
With a very small squad. Normally that would be 35. But I worked it out about mid-April for a Palace, like they were last year. No wonder they're losing games. No wonder they need players. I mean, he hasn't been backed. Yeah. They've played far too many games for the size of their squad.
No, you can't.
I mean, normally when a manager doesn't make substitutions, particularly when they lose the game, I presume they're making they're making some kind of point. But he literally didn't have people to bring on there. Really, Oche could have come on. Oche. After that, you're asking kids to make their debut away from home at a place like Sunderland in a losing cause. Maybe it's not the best thing to do. It is interesting now, isn't it, that the football clubs have become such complicated institutions that we saw it with Enzo Maresca, we saw it with Ruben Amorim, that you pick a fight with the upper echelons in order to get yourself pushed out the door. Because two things happen. One, your fellow coaches don't blame you. They blame the clubs you are at. And secondly, because all management groups, in my experience, think that their local rivals, their nearest other management groups, their rival brands are useless. You leave yourself open to getting another job down the line with an equally big club. And I guarantee you that both Amorim and Maresca will get, I would say, top jobs within the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a little bit unfair to compare them. Maresca did actually do a reasonable job at Chelsea and he won 2 trophies. Amorim was a disaster, let's be honest.
Just a quick one on Sunderland. Another great result for them. They've got players to come back now. I mean, it's been a pretty amazing season, really.
Yeah, Brian Brobby's touch for the goal. And Jeremy's goal was also brilliant, but Brobby's, we all remember one goal playing on the park where the ball hits the outside of our foot just perfectly. The difference is he meant it, didn't he? And it was really good.
So the pre-Heitinger era gets underway probably tomorrow night at the Lane. Spurs 1, West Ham 2. I was there watching.
The Ryan Mason years begin again.
Do you know what? I couldn't watch Match of the Day Saturday night. I watched David Baddiel's show about cats. I had to wait. I had to wait until Sunday morning. I couldn't face watching those highlights back.
Isn't that interesting, Paul? Our difference in personalities. I watched Match Day and recorded David's programme about cats because I was so keen to see it.
I've had
where do you want to start?
Well, I just think the move tomorrow night, considering probably on Wednesday they will sack him, is a very cowardly move by the board. I think
absolutely disgraceful.
Putting him on offer tomorrow night, letting him take all the unless they suddenly turn into peak Brazil 70 and get on the front foot and play marvellously.
I've written this can't go on. Is my first line. It can't.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, look, I don't know. I said he should go out Butch and Sundance tomorrow night. Go out swinging, old Thomas. He probably won't, but I mean, the crowd would get behind a team that got on the front foot and tried to win.
He's got several issues with that, hasn't he? He's got literally, and I think I'm right in saying, not one fit or available midfield player that you would consider first team.
No, not Bergvall potentially. Gray was limped away from the ground. That's true. I said it would be Gray and Bergvall. Gray's not fit either, is he?
No, he's not. Then I decided I would play 3 at the back until someone reminded me, rather cruelly on the Spurs podcast I do, that Van der Ven suspended. And so Paul Hawksbee would have to play left side centre back. Where, let's be fair, he couldn't do a lot worse than some of the people who have been turning out. This is you're right. It's not only is it cowardly of the Spurs board not to get rid of him now, it's also cruel because he's a human being, and watching his face and body language when 15,000 people, because everyone else had gone, were roaring a disapproval at him at the end of the game. I thought, how much more of this can a person take? Although there is also the option, and he could walk away from it. Because why would he put himself through that again? I don't get it myself.
Probably about 8 million reasons why.
No, I don't, Paul. I don't think that's right. Unless you're one of the super elites, your contract will say you'll get paid 6 months when you get paid off, or when you walk. It's a matter of, I suppose, a matter of professional pride. But this is not, can't be doing him personally any good at all. Thomas Frank is not a bad manager. But he's in the wrong place at the wrong time, and at a very badly run club as well.
Yeah, they could have had a penalty. Good effort from Simons. Just one of those things.
Not enough, though.
Such a poor goal.
Didn't show enough. There's no confidence.
Even 1-1 wouldn't have been enough.
As Stephen Corker said, I mean, they're just I mean, if you've got a team coming like West Ham who've got no confidence, and you just sit there and let them play, a player like Somerville, when played out of his skin, it was their best first half of the whole season. I mean, that's because Tottenham let it happen. And they've done that too many times this year. And that is down to Frank. You can feel sorry for him on a human level.
Sure.
But he's made a lot of
not on the coach level. No, Paul. No, I don't.
Yeah.
And the substitution of Matisse Tell, visibly, tangibly, Spurs' best forward player on the day, and then to praise Kolo Muani, who is on an extended holiday from Paris Saint-Germain, to praise him after the game then showed that Thomas, I'm sorry, mate, you're trying to fool us or you've lost your mind.
I'm glad to see Callum Wilson is not going by that. I mean, that would have been nuts. I mean, you see, he almost scores, but for Porro getting in the way with his first, such a lovely take. I mean, you need if you're fighting for your lives, and who knows, they could put a run together. It's going to be tough, but you've got to have him there. He's quality.
Nicholas Füllkrug won the game for AC Milan last night.
Oh, blimey.
Great. He did.
And on that note, we will head to the news at 2, and then we'll move on to Chelsea-Brentford that Andy...
Oh, play them off the park.
Smash and grab, apparently, he says. Anyway, we've got 3 more games to squeeze in, and we've got a live game for you tonight. Brighton, Bournemouth, live on talkSPORT. All the build-up from 7. chatting about a play that's got a West End run with a Newcastle United flavour. We'll be chatting to the writer and director and one of the stars who also pops up in Ted Lasso, Bill Fellows, as well. That's all coming up a little bit later on. First, Matt Hutchinson has the sports headlines.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
Thanks, Paul. Good afternoon. Palace fans criticising the club's hierarchy over recent days have been given this message.
Dare I say it, and it really irks me to have to do this.
Yeah.
Pack it in.
Yeah.
Whether I like it or not, this is an owner alongside the Americans that have capitalised and put Crystal Palace into the Premier League and kept them there for 12 and 13 years.
Former Palace chairman Simon Jordan there, he's urging supporters not to side with Oliver Glasner, who said he feels abandoned by the club's top brass following the sales of Gahey and Eze. North of the Thames now, talkSPORT understands Thomas Frank's job is still under serious risk. He'll face the media this afternoon ahead of Tottenham's match against Dortmund, live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. We're told there's a realistic chance Frank and the club will part ways after that match, but former Spurs boss Harry Redknapp is sticking up for the managers' union.
Poch did great there, and then after that we've had Conte, we've had Mourinho, we've had top managers that have come in. You know, they come and go. Obviously, the biggest problem is the recruitment's been poor.
Should Senegal be punished for walking out of the AFCON final? African football expert Gary Al-Smith thinks so.
For Senegal as a team, the fans, and then the coach, all of them going to be slapped with super hefty fines.
Quick transfer update now. We're told West Ham are confident of signing left winger Kaiber La Madrid from Deportivo La Guaira in Venezuela. talkSPORT also understands Callum Wilson is staying in East London following his late winner at Spurs. And there's life in the old dog just yet. Novak Djokovic has cruised into the second round of the Australian Open, beating Spain's Pedro Martinez in straight sets. Brits Fran Jones and Jacob Fernley are both out, though, with Jones in tears after she retired injured.
talkSPORT News.
Sir Keir Starmer has played down any prospect of retaliatory tariffs, saying a trade war with the US is in no one's interests. And Prince Harry's privacy case against the Daily Mail's publishers has now started. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With a huge range of premium brands available, we've got what you need to drive away happy every time. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
We're expecting a cloudy afternoon in many parts of the UK, with patches of rain for some.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it! We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Danny Kelly's with us. We're going game by game through the Premier League weekend. 3 more to go. Andy Brassell's going to join us for a European roundup. We'll look at some of the players that could be heading from European clubs into the Premier League, including Chelsea looking at a defender from Rennes, aren't they? Jamie Eastlake and Bill Fellows.
Yeah, all the fans are going, no jacket required.
Oh, OK.
Well, the thing is, when you've got a Senesi available, who's Premier League proven and experienced, obviously that will be a much better buy for Chelsea in the way they are than buying another young. They've got enough young players. They've got Achimpong. They've got enough young. Look how good he is.
It's where the Bournemouth want to sell in January.
That's right.
A couple of bits of business. Tony the Welt man, who often gets in touch today on a tranquil Bognor beat, said none of the Falls panel gave the Hammers a chance on Friday, so I lumped on. Dozen oysters and a bottle of Bolly. Went down a treat at the weekend, says Tony. And sad news really coming in from a great pro, Ben Davis. Spurs have said that he's going to undergo surgery with a fracture of his left ankle. So
not good for Wales either, though.
No, absolutely not. That'll be him for the season, which is a shame. We wish him well. Let's move on then to Chelsea-Brentford. Chelsea 2, Brentford 0. I was relying on the highlights, but I even sensed from the highlights that Chelsea got away with one. Andy, you were there. Was that your reading of it?
It was exactly my reading of it. Brentford were completely wasteful. I mean, they had 4 great chances they should have scored.
And then Keller made a rick and gave you the second goal.
And also they got caught out playing out from the back, which was sort of quite ironic, really. And it was the thing about Liam Rosenior, it's all going to be about player buy-in. If they buy into him, then I think he'll do well, and I think the club will do. They've got a great squad, Chelsea. They have, and so it's all there for him. But that's the key to it. If they do look at him in this sort of Brentish way, like the press are trying to, I don't think they will. But if they do, then that's a problem. But we'll see what happens. Brentford playing some lovely football. There's no question about it.
Yeah, Kevin Schade, who's been in such good form, that chance he had where he decided to square it instead of belt it.
Oh, my God.
I just couldn't.
Right in front of us. We go, what?
What gets into professional footballers' heads? I've got two choices here. I can score and possibly win this game, or I'll square it. I'll try to square
maybe
it.
He had the other. Maybe have him in his, was it Igor Thiago? Maybe he had him in his fantasy.
His
league
fantasy,
team.
What else can it be? What else can it be? Andy, just because you're a voracious note taker, I only watched. I only seen this in highlight this game, and I wrote down here. Originally, I wrote the word fortunate to Chelsea. Then I've crossed it out and wrote the word lucky. That's even more fortunate, isn't it?
I've written very
Chelsea.
fortunate. Is that all right?
Look, but you want younger managers. I don't go in for this thing of it's got to be English managers already, but younger coaches, you want them. You can't just keep recycling the same old names. So we wish for Liam Rosenior every possible success. You're right, then. You know how weird footballers are. The fact that he wears slightly geeky spectacles may count against him. Someone will sit in there. He's a bit of a mad scientist, this one, isn't he? We'll see how it works out for them.
So far, the noises are good. I mean, and also that he's shown that he can change his mind. Cole Palmer, though, is a big problem for Chelsea. I mean, he played the whole 90, which was unusual and probably something he needed. If you think of him in terms of how much he's played, he's like almost in pre-season. He's hardly played. He needs to play to get his sharpness back, but. You can see how frustrating
when he plays, it's not helping Chelsea at the moment, but in the long run, they've just got to get it up to speed, haven't they? Because we know what a great player he is.
Let's hear from Michael Carrick, shall we? Actually, we're going to come on to that last. We're going to talk about Leeds-Fulham, which probably won't take that long. But well done to Leeds. I was chatting to our own Tom Clayton, our Leeds fan here, our newsreader. I mean, again, very, very good result for them. Fulham looked like they were settling for the draw and made substitutions with that in mind, and they got bitten by it.
They made the substitutions because they were getting battered in that second half by Leeds. And, Daniel Farke's one of the managers you can take or leave it, and people who damn him by saying, he's a specialist in the Championship. He has changed the system of that club, and he deserves fantastic credit for it because he changed it to a system that on paper looks more defensive, but he did it to give them more chances of winning matches. And not just by nicking a goal, Thomas Frank, but by making more pressure in the opposition's half, and they have done, fantastic. They're still looking over their shoulder. I get that, but they've done fantastically well. And the manager, I think, because he's it looks like he's just retired from an old rock band and announcing a new tour when he does a press conference. He's not getting the credit he deserves for this. This has been a remarkable change at Leeds United, and Fulham went there, don't forget, in decent form. And in the end, we're bringing on defenders to try and keep the score to hang on to that point.
You're right. He could be the original bass player of the Scorpions, unless you knew exactly who he was.
Absolutely.
I've written there's nothing like a last-minute winner.
Yeah, I mean it was.
Football. It's the best thing in football. That last-minute winner. And also, Aronson's doing well. He's one of a
Paul
number.
Doesn't know what you're talking about now.
What's a last-minute winner?
Yes, he's one.
Conceding a last-minute winner. I can help you with.
Oh yes, that's very.
You've come
true.
to the right place.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah. I just want to say that Aronson is one of a number of very good players that America have got, USA have got. And I was thinking, if they did manage to win the World Cup. Yeah. Would it be a case of Trump presenting the cup to Christian Pulisic and then saying, you've got to give it back to me?
Yeah, that's what I want to take that, like the Nobel Prize. That's
Probably.
Right. Yeah. I'm no longer interested in football because I can't have your cup. Yes, let's move on to Manchester United versus Manchester City. Let's hear from Michael Carrick, shall we? He had a chat with us at talkSPORT after the game, and he said the result shows that any talk of a crisis at the club is overblown.
It was always in turmoil, even when we were winning, so from the outside, so that's nothing new. Yeah, I understand how it is. It's never as it seems, it's never extreme as it seems, but I've been really impressed and felt very comfortable and at home since I've come out in terms of what the culture's been like since I've got here, what the players have given me, what the staff, backroom staff have been incredible all through the club. So there's a real drive to wanting success, you know, and effort and knowledge and everything. So it's one result doesn't change everything, but it gives us a real platform to move forward with, and the boys have got a good feeling. We need to build on it.
It's amazing what players can do when they've got rid of a manager they didn't fancy, isn't it? Yeah. How the performance levels can be up so much.
It was an old school United performance, wasn't it? Everyone said you could see it. It was a 4-4-2, hit quickly on the counter. It was very good, direct players. But the caveat in this game is that they were lucky. Dalot should have been sent off. I mean, you know, if you're going by every other tackle that we've seen this season, that is a sending off.
Sure, but again, you know, and Roy Keane says, you know, United fans need to calm down. No, don't calm down. You've got every right to be excited about this because reality. This is the point. The departure of Amorim and the insertion of Michael Carrick means that a reality has returned to Manchester United. The reality they haven't got the players to play three at the back. The reality that Kobe Mainoo is a really good footballer and not some ghost at the training ground. The reality that if you can get him up for the game, that Bruno Fernandes is a fantastic player, and the reality that if you pass the ball forward at speed to players wearing the same colour jersey, you might cause even a really good team like Manchester City to struggle. And, you know, of course Roy Keane's right. You've got to do it again and again and again. And otherwise you're into that pattern of repetition of Manchester United caretakers coming in, beating Manchester City, and then everyone thinking it's okay.
Yeah, they have to beat the teams that they normally struggle against. They always do well against the top teams. That's absolutely.
Everything isn't right at Manchester United, but it wasn't as bad as Ruben Amorim was making out.
But what about City? I can't work City out. I mean, that was United drilled them. That could have been 5 or 6-0.
Didn't you think though? Pep normally can give a post-match press conference, and you think I don't quite know where he's coming at it there. And he basically said, "Look, we were leggy. Their new manager bounced. All the energy was here. Crowd were behind them."
Do you think they're going to end up concentrating on Europe?
I don't know. They've had. I think it's interesting that all 4 teams who played in those pretty intense Carabao Cup games this week didn't play particularly well at the weekend, and City were amongst them. I mean, they didn't have Kuzanov and Lane as the 2 centre backs. I mean, you're going to get a lot of sympathy for a team that spent as much money as they have, but there were kind of reasons why it happened. Just United were better on the day, and they couldn't live with their intensity, could they?
Yes, I get that, though I did sense, and you know, I've got no qualifications or certificates in body language. There is an acceptance of City falling away from their very, very best standards for whatever sets of reasons from Pep that I find not worrying. He's a great manager, all the rest of it. But even the most extraordinary human being can get to tired with the same project. And I wonder, he just struck me that he gave the reasons, and they were perfectly valid, as you said there, Paul. There's been versions of Guardiola in previous years would have kept that to himself and just gone, we're going to do better next week. And you're right to say that will they end up concentrating on the Champions League? And my answer to that would be, not with that defence, they won't.
No, good point.
They're going to get caught away from home somewhere and lose 3-0, aren't they?
But they, 3 disallowed goals, all really close. Yeah, Donnarumma made it several lots. So like I said, it could have been 5.
It could have been embarrassing. Danny, thank you. We will catch up with you next week.
Great fun. And who knows who'll be managing Spurs, Paul? Maybe you.
Possibly, yeah. they may get us both in.
I'd love that.
A management team.
Very good idea.
Danny Kelly, they're back with us Monday, back Sunday night with Andy Brassel for Trans Europe Express. And Andy missed out on Trans Europe Express. He was at the NBA in London.
But
there's some interesting business that could be done from Europe. We'll find out a bit more about some of those players that are incoming. Look at the form of the teams who are heading this week into Champions League games from Europe, and all the big stories with Andy in a few moments' time. We're here with our good friends at Toolstation. Gear up for those darker nights with electrical and lighting offers. Next stop, Toolstation.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology. How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Time then to head around Europe in the company of European football expert Andy Brassel. Good afternoon, Andy.
Hey, fellas, how are you?
Yeah, it was the NBA last night. You were in the company of a lot of top footballers, though, weren't you? Thierry Henry and Virgil van Dijk, I saw in the crowd, probably a lot of others.
Yeah, Thierry Henry really stood out because I think he's the one who actually knows about basketball.
Right.
And if you weren't aware of that, he turned up with Tony Parker, just to underline that.
Okay, yeah, nice one. Where should we go? We should maybe talk about what's been going on in Germany. Kane scores again. That's not really a headline anymore.
No, not really.
But he definitely needs the help of Michael Elise to do so. I mean, it's funny when you think of the volumes in which Harry Kane scores. It's not something that like Bayern have got an enormous unhealthy dependency on him. And when you look at the history of players of that sort of level, whether it be an Mbappe at Real Madrid at the moment, Cristiano Ronaldo in the past, Leo Messi, it's almost impossible not to lean too heavily on that sort of player. But having said that, even though Kane, I saw him in the flesh in the week when Bayern were away at Cologne, his all-round game at the moment is just jaw-dropping. It's incredible. He's maybe not the best player in the team because Michael Elise is so good this season, second top scorer on the Bundesliga. And he came on at half-time at the weekend at Leipzig. They were playing in the late game, 1-0 down and got played off the park in the first half. First time they've been losing at half-time in this whole season in any game. And then Elise comes on, 3 assists and a goal later, and Bayern win 5-1. It's extraordinary. And as well, a little return for Jamal Musiala right at the end, and he accidentally set up the Elise goal as well, which was quite an interesting little twist.
That's good that he's come back so quickly because he got injured, didn't he, in the Club World Cup? I remember it.
Yeah,
that's right. And he had a serious injury before that, Andy, as well. I mean, he's not played a Bundesliga game since last April. So this was a really big comeback. And they're in such a good position at the moment. The amount of goals that Bayern are scoring, they've scored more than twice as much as the second scoring team, which is Borussia Dortmund. And if you pro-rata it, if they carry on scoring at their current rate, they're going to end up with 134 league goals this season.
Yeah, they're running away with the Bundesliga. I still don't fancy them to win the Champions League, but we shall.
Just very quickly, what can Spurs fans expect? It's live on talkSPORT, that game tomorrow night. What can they expect from Dortmund tomorrow evening? Are they coming with have they got any injuries? Can you give me some good news? They're down at the bare bones.
Well, I guess the problem is at the moment for Dortmund, it's an existential one. They're not thrilling under Niko Kovac. You know, they brought
should be
in
a hell of a game then. Can't wait.
Yeah, exactly. But they brought in a coach to get them results, to make them a bit tougher and stronger, and he's done that. You know, they're second place in the league. They're 6 points clear in second place in the league. They've only lost one league game all season, but they absolutely squeaked past St. Pauli, who probably the worst team in the division this weekend. They needed a 95th minute penalty to do it. So there's your bit to cling to.
Now, player power and a malleable president that gave into player power did for Xabi Alonso, but the Bernabeu crowd weren't having it. They were singing Florentino go, weren't they? They turned on the players as well. They don't like what they've seen this week.
No, they're really angry with the players. And this has been brewing for a while, ever since way before Xabi Alonso was fired. Really, all of this goes back to when Vinicius came off in the Clásico and was annoyed at Xabi Alonso and had several words with him, and it was pretty ugly. He came out afterwards and apologised to everyone at the club apart from Alonso. Now, really, the club needed to do something here. Now, look, I know they're known as their whole history is an indulger of stars, a pedestalizer of stars, but this was too much. And especially bearing in mind that Mbappe's not really, Vinicius, Freudian slip there, is not really the key player in the team anymore, you could argue. They've still got a long way to go in sorting out a contract that's got less than 18 months to run. At that point, when they didn't back Xabi Alonso, what they were saying to the players is do what you like. We've brought in this guy who is meant to instill discipline and meritocracy, but actually, when push comes to shove, we're not going to back him. And it's interesting, for the last couple of home games, Vinny has been booed from the large sections of the Bernabeu crowd. And it was interesting, we saw the footage of him coming out before the second half against Levante in that famous tunnel at the Bernabeu, and he needed to be comforted by Mbappe because he could hear the boos as his name was being read out to the crowd. So it's a very, very unhappy place.
To be really honest,
yeah, you do. I mean,
he's a piece of work. He is, and he's a good player and all that, but. He's got, the ego is so massive that But
you know what, Andy? I think there's a reason for this, and it's not about Vinicius Junior. It's about the culture of Real Madrid. That's what needs to change, because the fact is, I think if you look at Vinny, he arrives with no first team experience as a kid in Spain. He builds himself into one of the best players in the world against the backdrop of some horrendous racial abuse at times, and he's had to be far more grown up than anyone should be expected to be in that situation. But what they've really done since the Ballon d'Or that he didn't win point. In 2024, it was the turning point.
When he threw his toys out the pram and they backed him was pathetic.
Yeah, the thing is, they made it into a much bigger thing than it needed to be. If they'd have just turned around and said, why do you even care about this? You're the best player in the world and you've just won the Champions League. And then you move on quite quickly. But instead, they nurtured this feeling of grievance, and, they've reaped what they've sown, really.
But Barca lost last night. I was listening to Danny and Kev last night, and they managed to lose. So the title race is still on. It was
Rashford scored. But
yes, yeah. It wasn't enough.
He
They
scored.
Immediately got the second goal, Sociedad, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. They went straight up the other end. 61 seconds later, Gonzalo Guedes, who was not amazing at Wolves, but at points in his La Liga career, before with Valencia, before he left, and now again, he's been really good since he come to Real Sociedad. He looks like he has the ability to be one of the absolute best. The finish was unbelievable as well. Rashford was only in the team because Rafinha wasn't available. No coincidence, I would suggest, that Barcelona go a little bit awry when Rafinha is not available. Again, maybe their most important player, despite Lamine Yamal. So it makes the title race really exciting again. It's bizarre that Real Madrid, their morale is probably on the floor despite winning that game at the weekend, and then Barcelona go and throw them a free pass. Maybe it semi-invites Atletico back into the title race as well, because they won this weekend too.
Couple of ex-Premier League strikers on the score sheet in Italy. Daniel Marlon in his debut for Roma, and Nicholas Fulcru scored. The West Ham fans will be less bothered about that after Saturday, I guess.
I guess, but Fulkrug, you look at when he's fit, he's a goal scorer. There's no doubt about it. We're talking about when Real Madrid won the Champions League in 2024 against Dortmund in the final, because he had a massive part, Fulkrug, in taking them to that final. In terms of injuries, he's got to be one of the most unlucky top-level strikers out there. Remember, this was a guy who, when he was at Hanover, left training for A&E with a teammate's tooth in his head. That's the sort of luck that Fulkrug's had over his career. But in the case of Daniel Marlon, it's really interesting because he didn't really do much wrong at Aston Villa, I felt. Clearly, there's a PSR motivation behind selling him, at least partially. And he's exactly what Roma have needed. He linked really well with Paulo Dybala from the get-go. Won 2-0 in a very difficult away game at Torino. He had a goal disallowed, a little controversially, and then straight away went and scored one that actually did count. He was brilliant.
I was thinking about something on the weekend, Andy. It's maybe a generalisation, but is it easier to play in the European leagues than it is in the Premier League? And could they get to a point where player thinks to himself, I don't really want to play in this league. It's so difficult. Every game is so tight and so difficult. Whereas in the foreign leagues, there are games where you can kind of cruise a bit.
Well, I guess it's a little bit of a generalisation, I think, because it does change so much from league to league. I mean, I think it's really hard to call the numbers if you're talking about the Eredivisie or Portugal's Liga. I mean, we've seen how difficult it's been for Victor Gyökeres, for example, who could beat up on some teams with absolutely no money last season, teams that would probably be in League One or League Two over here. And, that is fact. We're talking about clubs with absolutely tiny budgets in some cases. But I don't know. I haven't felt that the Premier League's been of extraordinary quality so far this season.
Not quality, but just
competitiveness.
Competitive in its
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
What about Jeremy Jacobs?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about that. Is he worth 56 million quid of Chelsea's money from Rennes, Andy?
Probably not.
Well, look, once you've been stamped, produced by Rennes Academy, that really helps your price tag.
Yeah.
There's some big players who've come out of there, not to mention them developing Jeremy Doku after they bought him from Anderlecht. Bear in mind, they used him to replace Rafinha. If you're a Rennes fan looking back at what you could have won, it's pretty something. But look, he is a player that Habib Bey, the coach of Rennes, has come out and said, look, we absolutely don't want to lose him. We're going to torch our season if we're going to lose him, and maybe we should hold on to him because we can make more money out of it. Look, I think Rennes have a biting point. He's someone who looks absolutely Premier League ready. He's great already, and you're buying future, which is something that Chelsea love to do, of course. And this is something for the Premier League in general, rather than buying generally a player like Gyökeres who seems like a sure thing, who's at that sort of peak age. You'd rather buy a player who's 20, 21, 22 and's got 10 years ahead of them, and that's the case with Xhaka. But look, Rennes can charge what they like, and their biting point, it seems, is about 80 million euros, which is a lot to ask.
Yeah. A nice one, Andy. We'll catch up with you next week. Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
Andy Brassel back with Danny Kelly for Trans-Europe Express. Vladimir Sufar will be in the studio tomorrow. Vali McCoist and Gabi Agbonlahor. He'll be looking back on that historic night in Prague, talking about some of his teammates, some that are still there, some that could be heading out, like Lucas Paquetá, and he'll give his thoughts on the team currently. So check that out, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Set your alarms. Vladimir Sufar, the former West Ham defender, on talkSPORT Breakfast. We're going to be joined by two of the people behind a new play, which is heading up to Newcastle soon. He's got a Newcastle United theme, but he's doing a limited run in London. It's called Jerry and Saul, and we'll be joined by the writer and director Jamie Eastlake and Bill Fellows, one of the stars, very shortly.
We're told several senior Spurs players are not buying into Thomas Frank's methods and the dressing room's become a toxic place. Our chief football correspondent Alex Crook thinks it's a matter of when, not if, Frank goes. And head of Borussia Dortmund, Frank's missing a bunch of players.
Look, at least Mickey van der Ven, who for me is their best defender, so it's hard really to make a case for Spurs winning that game. If they lose again, I think his days are numbered, unfortunately, because I love Thomas Frank, but you have to admit it's just not worked out at all, has it?
Here's what the fans are telling talkSPORT today.
His football's too negative for a Tottenham team.
When is people going to learn and understand, right, that we are run badly?
Too many Spurs fans are absolutely deluded, thinking we've got some divine right to be challenging.
Spurs Dortmund is live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Now, former Crystal Palace coach Shaun Derry surprised Oliver Glasner's still in a job. That's after Glasner saying he felt abandoned. We're told West Ham's Callum Wilson isn't going anywhere this January following his late winner at Spurs. We understand Alexander Zinchenko could leave Nottingham Forest to join Ajax on loan. And Stuart Pearce has told White and Jordan, if you walk off the field, you should forfeit the game. That's after Senegal head coach Pape Thor led his side off in protest at refereeing decisions during the AFCON final.
I didn't see the issues that they took the players off the pitch for being that contentious that I thought, oh, he's got a point there. I could see why he done that.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Time to chat about a new play, which is on a little limited run in London before heading back up to Newcastle. It has a Newcastle United theme. Before we chat to one of the stars and the director and writer of Jerry and Saul, let's give you a flavour of it now.
You never get sick and tired of all this, man, Sewell. The ducking, the diving.
What are you going on about, man, Jerry?
Season tickets, man, Sewell.
Season tickets?
Aye. That is the start of a better life for us. Give us a scooch up over that gate. I'll go in through the window, then I'll let you in round the back. So, man, you're touching me tail, man. You just give me an idea to take our plan to the next level. Right, you can't give chocolate to a dog, man, Sewell.
You only had a bit of an Easter egg, man.
It's the same bloody question.
What?
Everything is worth £1. You are supposed to be looking over for a man. You are supposed to say us proud. Man, Civil.
There we are. Jerry and Saul tells a story of a couple of Newcastle fans desperate to score season tickets to watch their beloved tune by some nefarious means. Jamie Eastlake is the writer and director of the show. And Bill Fellows, one of the stars. You'll know Bill from Ted Lasso. He was the original AFC Richmond manager, wasn't he? Don't you remember? And he got the sack for his casual misogyny.
You know when I got the sack? when I got the sack, Ted Lasso took over and he relegated them.
That's
we were mid-table.
I love the way you're standing.
Straight away.
Standing your record. Yeah.
Come in a bit closer to the mic, Bill.
Yeah, we'll grab you in. So, Jamie, looking at the synopsis from this, I realised I kind of thought it sounded familiar because there was a film many years ago called Purely Belter, wasn't there? Which this is the play of.
Yeah,
from a book.
Yeah, it was a book called The Season Ticket, then became Purely Belter. But I wanted to modernise it and put it in the Mike Ashley era. That was sort of the plan. So two reprobates from Gateshead who their club was at rock bottom whilst their sort of society for them was at rock bottom. So that was sort of the mirror. So getting season tickets was a lot easier back then,
Yeah.
under the Ashley era. But if you don't have the money, you don't have the money, do you? Whereas it's difficult to get season tickets in any way for Newcastle United right now.
Yeah, no,
it was a pretty miserable time, wasn't it, the Mike Ashley era?
Well, I mean, he gets a bit of clog in the play. I think if you wouldn't advise him to come and see it.
I wouldn't. Please don't come, Mike.
He won't be happy.
He might come with his lawyers then.
Bill, you play. I mean, I don't know if you like playing goodies or baddies, if you prefer. But I mean, he's fairly unsympathetic character. Your
yeah, he's a very unsympathetic character, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think he gave me the part because I'm a Middlesbrough supporter.
Ah, just to wind you
I'm
up.
with all, yeah, exactly. I'm with all the Geordies there, but the worst villain is played by someone who supports Middlesbrough, so I don't know what's going on there. But no, I don't mind. I mean, it's a great part.
Yeah.
It's really well written. He is the villain of the piece. When I was in Corrie for the 3 years, I was a really nice guy, so I play either, really. It's good fun.
You don't have a preference?
Not a preference at all, actually. Sometimes being the villain's a little bit more... it's more interesting sometimes, you know. But he is unpleasant, this guy. There's no redeeming quality.
You're the dad of one of the boys, bit of a drinker.
A bit of a drinker, yeah.
It's fair to say.
Massive drinker, and sadly abuses his wife and his kids and stuff like that. So, yeah, all round, not a good guy at all, really.
I mean, it's funny and there's music in it.
Yeah, no, it's just really...
I think it's an important point that it deals with some pretty dark stuff as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally does. And there's ways of doing pieces of theatre where it could just be a kitchen sink drama, but we wanted to Geordify it, and we sort of laugh in the face of adversity, the Geordies. So it's an old singing, old dancing Geordie jamboree, I think is the way to put it.
It's quite a short run. What's going to happen to the play after the 24th of January?
We'll see. I mean, it's coming back at Newcastle in June to the Newcastle Theatre Royal, but it's been on this mad adventure. It started in the social club in North Tyneside, and it's somehow now on the West End 3.5 years later, which I don't think has ever happened before, ever.
Wow. Fantastic.
I'll just say one thing. You don't have to love Newcastle United or football to enjoy this play. It's a really great piece of work anyway. I mean, yeah, it could be set in Liverpool, anywhere with that, because the same, kind of people who are struggling in life, which is what the lads are.
Yeah.
And football represents to them hope, really, which it does for a hell of a lot of people, as we all know. Yeah.
There is something about one club town and one club cities, though, isn't there? I know what you mean. On Merseyside, you've got two big forces there, and in London, you've got far too many. But there's something about like Leeds and Newcastle and places like that when one team dominates a city.
Yeah, it just soaks into every aspect of life, really. I think that's it. You see that with the boys in the show, but it's the way I was brought up. I mean, I've got a magpie tattooed on my arm. I had a picture of Kevin Keegan above me cot when I was born from my father. So
you said cot, by the way.
Yes, I was going to say, I froze then.
Listening on medium
it was
wave.
the way you went into that. I think if you're on medium wave, I just thought I'd clear that one up for you. Borough. How are you feeling about Borough at the moment? It's going pretty well at the moment.
Pretty good. We're second at the moment, and we're hopeful to get to play Newcastle and Sunderland next year. You know, even though there's this wonderful rivalry, deep down we're North East lads, and we all, I'd always support Newcastle against a European team or anything like that.
Having all three in the division, that's
having
a
all
good
three
point,
would be
isn't it? I mean,
fantastic.
because it looks like Sunderland are staying up.
Oh, they're definitely.
Definitely.
I mean, we took a bit of a blow this year when Rob Edwards, for whatever reason, decided to leave us. But now, we're starting to rebound from that and playing really well. So we're all very, very hopeful.
So you turn up your Geordie accent from your Teesside accent?
A little bit, not massively, because we discussed this. He could come from Hartlepool or Darlington. He could come from Scotland. So yeah, it is a bit stronger, but I do have a little tiny badge inside of my jacket saying Middlesbrough when I'm surrounded.
With
all the black and white.
So you wear it. Oh, that's it.
Secretly. No one can see it.
The Great Escape.
Right onto the stage. Someone.
I love all the teams in the North East.
So you got a good cast. You put a good cast together, haven't you? Well, there's a few people that are very recognisable from a lot of TV and stuff. Certainly. A lot of soaps as well. Chelsea Halfpenny is Emma Dale will know her from and stuff. So you've put a good cast together.
Yeah, great cast. Just North East legends in my eyes. So yeah, all flying the flag for the North East. They're great. All brilliant.
So, and you're feeling good at the moment? I mean, we were just saying the other day, the Voltemada goals have sort of dried up a little bit. He still plays his part. He still links up the play.
Still plays his part, but we're just Newcastle United away from home. They're just just no firepower at the minute. Doesn't look like they're going to buy in January either, does it? And it's a bit of a struggle.
Hamstrung by PSR, you know, which
yeah.
It's, honestly, some clubs. I mean, you know, they've got a big stadium, 50,000. Why have they got so much less to spend than City?
Well, Eddie said that the other day, didn't he? He said we can't really go into the market. I don't think we've got the money to spend in the market, man, unless they sell. I mean, they're looking at.
So you've got rich owners. It's, you know, all this works against.
Well, it was so it allowed the big boys who'd spent their money to pull up the drawbridge, which is what it was all about, really, wasn't it?
Of course it was.
Nobody could join the party.
There's also that problem like teams like Middlesbrough have got, where if we get a great player like, you know, Whittaker or Hackney, you know, straight away the Premiership are going to come in for them with the money.
Yeah, Morgan Rogers.
Morgan
Rogers.
So that's the. Luckily, we've got one of your lads, somebody who plays really well for us.
Marty Target.
So you're there until Saturday the 24th at the Aldwych. Tickets still available?
Tickets still available, and we've really tried to price them really accessible as well, so you can get tickets from £12 as well.
Very good.
That's good.
Excellent. So, well, we wish you well there, and then the run-up in Newcastle. And, Bill, we're going to see you in the reboot of Ted Lasso. Is your man going to join you?
No, I don't think I am. No, he's not going to pop up this time. I think his arc was done, I think, when I managed West Ham and shook his hand at the end.
It was a nice little cameo, though.
It was a great...
Is that what do you get? I mean, because you did Corrie for a long time.
Yeah.
But do you get... I don't know if you've been abroad since you did Ted Lasso, but, I mean, do you get recognised abroad now?
Well, if I went to America, I think I would.
Yeah.
But, mainly Corrie, but also Alan Partridge I did. I did that as well, but you get recognised for. But no, Ted Lasso was amazing. I mean, none of us thought it would work, because football rarely works in England, does it, or in Great Britain? And it worked brilliantly. And no, it's. And if I went to America, you apparently get mobbed in America and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great to work with, as you know him well, Jeff Stelling, Chris Kamara. So most of the time, I was only Jason at the beginning and the end. The rest of the time, we were in this Gillette Sports studio for real, with their crew and everything. Only 3 of us were allowed in, so it felt a bit odd. I never hardly met anyone else apart from Chris and Paul Merson was then. Clinton Morrison,
of course.
Bringing Clinton was in.
He gave it that good air of all.
So we had a good time. Yeah.
Jerry and Saul at the Aldwych Theatre until Saturday the 24th of January. As Jerry was just saying, tickets are reasonably priced. So if you fancy a night out at the theatre at a good price, go along and check it out, guys. Thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jamie Eastlake there and Bill Fallows from Jerry and Saul. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. We're going to be talking AFCON. The next AFCON is in 18 months in the summer. We'll look at some of the reasons why they've tried that before and quickly abandoned it. But Tony Afoke is going to join us to reflect on what was a great tournament, as Stephen Corker was saying, until all the mayhem of last night. Just to let you know, don't miss DAZN's packed fight schedule. Fights every week, including next weekend, Madison Square Garden in New York, as Teofimo Lopez takes on Shakur Stevenson. Should be some fight. Then kicking off February, Nick Ball versus Brandon Figueroa, and the rematch between Lee Wood and Josh Warrington. We very much look forward to that. Buy the pay-per-view or sign up to DAZN Ultimate and get 12 plus pay-per-views a year, including Lopez v Stevenson, Barrios versus Garcia on February the 21st at no extra cost. Watch all these fights only on DAZN.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology. How did you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Be there for Super Bowl 60 on talkSPORT.
Yes, with the Super Bowl just around the corner, we're down to the last 4 teams. talkSPORT is giving you and a friend the chance to experience it live. You've got until Thursday to enter for your chance to win tickets to the Super Bowl. Sunday, the 8th of February, return flights to San Francisco, 3 nights accommodation and spending money. In just a few weeks, you could be soaping up, or indeed, you could be soaping up. But you certainly could be soaking up the Super Bowl atmosphere. And, Les Cocker.
Yeah.
And exploring San Francisco. Sounds good. Here's how to enter. Angie, do you know how to enter?
No.
Here. These are the details of how to enter. Let me give you the bit of paper.
Right. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate. Or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close this Thursday at 4 p.m.
Oh, yeah, 4 p.m.
Lines close this Thursday, 2026.
Okay. Well, you've got to be belt and braces. A big competition.
That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. Not in 2027.
No.
18 plus, UK residents only. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. So for your chance to win, text WIN to 83338 now.
Yes, there we are. So AFCON concluded last night. The feeling is it was an excellent tournament, as Stephen Corker, the former Sierra Leone defender, was saying to us. Great pitches. Morocco did a really good job. And then we had all the carnage of last night with a walk-off by Senegal. And wow, it was crazy. Tony Afoke was watching it all unfold and joins us now. Hey, Tony.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Good, thanks. It is a shame, really, because the feeling was it was a good tournament, but as Stephen said, been completely overshadowed by everything that happened last night. You do sense that Senegal are going to be in for some kind of punishment, and whether fines will ultimately be enough. What's your expectation?
I do think Senegal will be in some kind of punishment. The CAF did release a statement this morning saying that they don't condone what happened with the Senegal fans last night. But again, what happened yesterday was very farcical, and I don't want to take it away from the tournament because we had such a good tournament. Like, this was one of the greatest AFCONs I've gone to watch, and Morocco did a really good job with what they did and everything else that they did. But at the same time, when scenes like that, as you're seeing on your screen right there, it just kind of overshadowed what happened in the final.
Winter tournaments played in reasonable weather are so much better than summer tournaments. And this is another one that's proved that point. And yet they're thinking, or they're going to move it back to the summer, aren't they?
Well, they're moving it, aren't they, for the next one in 18 months' time. Then it's going into a 4-year cycle. So this was the kind of last one as we knew it, wasn't it? How popular or not has that been in African football?
It's not been popular at all. It's definitely not. I think the decision to make AFCON every 4 years is absolutely terrible. I feel like last night was a show of that. Even though there was going to be a straightforward 1-0 victory, we had this. And I'm not saying that chaos is the thing that brings people to AFCON, but there's always something that happens at an AFCON, right? And the fact that now, even though we've got the one in Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya in 2027, then we've got one in 2028, but then to it be every 4 years, I think that's just appeasing people in Europe and European teams rather than what's going on in Africa. I feel like they're not putting Africans first, and especially when it's an African tournament, it just doesn't make sense to me.
But aren't all the major tournaments, the Euros, the World Cup, they're all every 4 years? Why is that a problem? I don't quite.
I mean, it's traditionally been every two, isn't it? That's been its USP, and that's, I guess, people in African football wanted to keep it that way, to have a special tournament every 2 years.
Yeah, 100%. Every major tournament is every 4 years, and I totally get why the Euros and the World Cup is. It makes it harder. But that's been the special thing about AFCON. It's been every 2 years. It's been mid-season. And the reason that you can't really play a lot of AFCONs during the summer because it's just too hot. Like, we're going to play a World Cup in America in a couple of years' time, and people are going to complain about the heat in America. So imagine doing that when you're near the equator. It's just going to be even worse.
Yeah.
And we saw it like this year, the fact that Morocco didn't have a really hot climate, and those playing in Europe, they were used to it. They were used to the nice pitches. They were used to the rain. And it showed. It showed that the best teams went to the top, and at the end of the day, the best team won the AFCON. So yeah, it is a shame that it's going to every 4 years. It hasn't sat well with any of the African teams, to be fair.
The Moroccan coach in his press conference, there was some footage of kids crying in the crowd after the team lost, and the journalist was saying to him, "You've made children cry. Are you going to resign now?" I mean, it probably wouldn't have been the top of his list for reasons for resign, but you do sense that he had to win it to keep his job. I don't know if he's gone already, Tony, has he?
No, he hasn't gone already, but yeah, the Moroccan journalists were not happy yesterday. They were literally asking for him to resign there and then during the press conference, which I've never really seen before. One of my friends who was there, who went to the press conference, said that they were literally asking him to resign right there and then. And as soon as Pape Thiaw, the Senegal manager, came in, Moroccan journalists just came up and left. They really didn't take losing this final well, because I think in the manner in which they lost it, I feel like Morocco has spent so much money in football recently, and especially from what they did in the World Cup in 2022, they were expected to win this tournament. As a host nation, they haven't won it in nearly 50 years. So they were expected to win it, and to get to the final, to have the wind blowing in their way from, I would say, the round of 16 against Tanzania. You could see the decisions were quite dubious then. And so everything going in their favour, and then they finally lost it in the manner they did. They were fuming. And I guess as a host nation, that's just something you just can't comprehend. And they were asking him to leave there and then.
There's so much entitlement in football at the moment, not just here, but all over the place, really. You know, fans saying, well, we're entitled to no one's entitled to anything, really. I mean, he got them to the final, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He got them to the final, but I just think the final just wasn't enough. I think Morocco have been yearning for an AFCON for a while now. I think the last one they won it was in the 70s. So a lot of people at the stadium have probably never seen Morocco win an AFCON. And the fact that they got to a semi-final, they're the first African nation to get to a semi-final of the World Cup, they were just expected to win it. And they built all these nice stadiums. This was a little dress rehearsal for the 2030 World Cup they're going to host with Spain and Portugal. So the fact that they didn't win this with the likes of Brahim Diaz, Ashraf Hakimi, every game bar the Mali game in the group stage was played in the stadium in the final, they were just expected to win it. And as you said, there's no entitlement in football, but when everything is just blowing in your way and everything is just wanting and willing, and the whole nation is just willing for them to win, I just don't see why Moroccan fans didn't take it lightly. But again, the fact that Brahim Diaz missed that penalty and they even gave him a chance to win it, and the manner in which they lost, I think if Senegal just beat them 2-0, I don't think it would have been that much of an issue.
No.
But the fact that Brahim Diaz missed that penalty in the last minute, it goes on to extra time, in the way they lose it, it just didn't sit well with any Moroccan journalists or fans.
And just one final word on that. There was this theory straight away that he deliberately missed it and it was some kind of carve-up, and Mendy knew it was going to happen. It didn't look like that. The fact that the Senegalese players didn't go nuts when he missed it was the evidence of that. But I take it Mendy and others were asked whether there'd been some sort of tacit agreement that he would just chip it into his hands. That didn't happen, did it?
No, well, this is the thing. People were talking about this, and I remember during the media tribute when we all saw it yesterday, the reaction to the Senegal players is kind of weird. I think if a player is ever going to miss a penalty deliberately, I think he misses it wide, or he just literally passes it, and it's quite apparent that it was deliberate. I think Brahim Diaz saw his name in lights and decided to do his best Zinedine Zidane impression in the World Cup 2006 and do the Panenka. But again, the fact that the Senegal players didn't react when missing the penalty, it kind of shows that maybe he did. But I think if you saw Brahim Diaz in tears at the end, and where Regari, the Moroccan manager, where he was speaking to Brahim Diaz after, I think if you look at that, I don't think that was done on purpose.
No. He won't be getting the FIFA Fair Play Award, you sense. That's true. Tony, thanks ever so much. We'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Tony Afoke there out at AFCON that concluded yesterday. We were fortunate enough to do a Phoenix from the Flames with Antonin Panenka.
Yes,
we had a bit of an off-duty chat with him, and he said it was just a spur of the moment thing. But of course, quite a lot of players have tried and failed it since, haven't they?
Oh, just hit it.
The that European Championship final against Germany for Czechoslovakia. Anyway, we move on, and we will be chatting to Ollie McBurnie in the next hour. I'm looking forward to that. The whole city going rather well at the moment. Scotland potentially World Cup place on the horizon. And we're going to get, we're looking for the low sock origin story from Ollie as well. And we'll talk a bit of table tennis. We'll hear from Thomas Frank as well. He's giving his press conference at 3:30 into the Lions Den. And Adam Virgo joins us, head of talkSPORT's remaining Premier League commentary this weekend, Brighton versus Bournemouth. Ollie McBurnie up next for a chat, but first Matt Hutchinson has the sports headlines.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van range, supporting van owners to get the job done. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van centre.
Thanks, Paul. Good afternoon. Some shocking news from talkSPORT Towers. Simon Jordan has stuck up for Steve Parish. The former Palace chairman has told supporters criticising the club's current hierarchy to pack it in.
They should be given a little bit more latitude than some of the Palace fans are starting to do, because realistically speaking, with all due respect, not every club has billionaire owners, and Palace's primary function in life is to stay in the Premier League as comfortably as possible.
All this comes after Oliver Glasner said he feels abandoned by the club's top brass following the sales of Gahey and Eze. Elsewhere this afternoon, we understand Thomas Frank's job is still under serious risk, and there's a realistic chance he'll lose his job after Tottenham's next match. That's against Dortmund, live on talkSPORT tomorrow night, but former Spurs boss Harry Redknapp says the biggest issue there is the blokes in the dugout.
It can't keep being the manager. It's everybody who comes in. Can't get a tune out of them, really. You know, last year, 17th, OK, they won a cup. And they're not doing any too much better this year.
Over in East London, we're told Flamengo are going to make a fresh bid for one-away West Ham star Lucas Paquetá, but we're not expecting the new bid to be considerably higher than Flamengo's first of €40 million. talkSPORT's Danny Kelly has given his verdict on the last week at Old Trafford.
The departure of Amorim and the insertion of Michael Carrick means that a reality has returned to Manchester United. The reality they haven't got the players to play three at the back. The reality that Kobe Mainoo is a really good footballer and not some ghost at the training ground.
Carrick's boys have another tough test this weekend, this time at Arsenal. And in the Aussie Open, Britain's Fran Jones was left in tears after retiring from her opening round match. Jacob Fernley is also out.
talkSPORT News.
There's going to be 3 days of mourning in Spain following a high-speed train crash that killed at least 39 people. And a school in Wolverhampton has been closed after a man's body was found in the grounds there. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, where we've got more premium tyres than the number of times you'll hear, "Ooh, it's a bit nippy" this winter. Book today at quickfit.com.
This evening, we're expecting some rain in south-western areas. Heavier showers are likely later on, also in far western Scotland.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
Good afternoon, it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here. Actually, it's just Paul Hawksbee. Andy just drifted away. Yes, so did I. Yes. OK, well, we'll find out what's going on. That wasn't supposed to happen.
No.
So we will find out what's going on.
Smoke and mirrors.
In a moment. Yeah, of course, it's all smoke and mirrors. Anyway, let's be honest. Earlier on, we spoke to Ollie McBurnie.
Yes.
And this is the conversation I expected to hear about 30 seconds ago, but here it is now. This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, and another good result for Hull at the weekend. They're doing very well at the moment in the Championship, sitting in fifth place. Joining us now, their striker, Ollie McBurnie. Hi, Ollie.
Hey, mate, you all right?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, going rather well at the moment, isn't it?
It's going good, mate, yeah. Got a nice start, and hopefully keep it going for the rest of the season. Be nice.
What's been the key, you think? Why do you feel it's sort of all clicking at the minute?
A lot of things. I think the club did really well. They're very pragmatic in the summer. You know, there's obviously the transfer embargo, but I think that the boys that they brought in before that and even after that have been really good additions. You know, I've played against some of these boys for years and played with a lot of them for years as well, and knew the quality that they had in the dressing room. So I think quietly under the radar that the signings that they've made have been top, and then obviously the manager and his staff have been excellent with us as well. You know,
a nice plum cup tie to look forward to as well against Chelsea.
Yeah, apparently everyone keeps telling me. Yeah, we got the Chelsea game. Obviously the last round we went 120 minutes and penalties with Blackburn, which wasn't ideal for the body, but we get a nice score against Chelsea from the back of it. So yeah. Nice.
I seem to remember you scoring for Sheffield United against Chelsea at least one occasion.
Yeah, we were speaking about the other day, me, Eags and Lonnie. We had a couple of nice games against Chelsea and did all right against them in the Prem. So hopefully can carry on a bit of that form next week or whatever it is.
It's interesting this year, Ollie, because the Premier League is kind of like the Championship, because you look at the Championship and a couple of wins can transport you right up the table. So everybody's got to be on their toes. But it has been pretty mad, hasn't it, this year in the Premier League, where, you know, people are going from sort of 14th to 6th after a couple of victories.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you look at, especially over the periods, you know, like the Christmas periods where you have a lot of games in a short space of time, I think, you know, like you say, you can go from within a week or two from the bottom end of the table to the top end of the table. So, you know, I think it's what makes the league so interesting to watch. Why everyone watches it, and it's usually like that in the Championship. Not so much usually like that in the Premier League, but you see that this year for a change.
You had a spell in Spain. I mean, A, was it a good experience, and B, how different was it to playing in English football? Sorry.
Yeah, I loved it, mate. I really enjoyed my time there. It was completely different, real culture shock, in on the pitch and off the pitch, really. But I think in terms of on the pitch, it's almost like a different sport, from the Premier League. I think sometimes it's like 35 degrees, so you can't even do as much running even if you wanted to. But just the whole philosophy of playing in Spain is very different to that playing in England. It's all about keeping the ball. Sometimes you'll have the ball, we'll just let you have the ball, and vice versa. And in England, it's all run, press. So, it's very different. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed my time out there.
What about the day-to-day then, Ollie, of, around nutrition and the way that you're kind of in and around the squad? You're away for longer in the build-up to games. Was it different sort of from a cultural point of view?
Well, yeah, obviously, I was in Gran Canaria. I was at Las Palmas, so 2.5 hours away from the mainland in Spain. So every away trip's a 2-hour minimum flight. And then alternatively as well for the other team, it's 2.5 hours to get to Las Palmas. So you're away a lot, but yeah, it's between 22 and 32 degrees all year round in December. So you're on the golf course a lot. Probably why we got relegated. But it was enjoyable. I loved it for me and my young family going out there, and the people out there are so welcoming, so friendly, so proud of their team. But yeah, the sun makes a massive difference for me. I was out there for all season. I didn't get one injury, and I think a lot of it was down to that. You wake up in the morning.
Interesting.
It's nice, and it's a good place to go to work. I
would imagine it must take you a couple of weeks to suddenly realise you're not on holiday, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of the easy trap to fall into. I think it's a holiday destination for a lot of British people as well. So there was times where it was tough. Yeah.
Did you? I would imagine because people go on holiday there and they go and take in a game while they're out there. And do you see were there sort of Blades fans turning up? Did you get a few shouts, or did you see a few shirts in there you recognise in the crowd?
Yeah, I got quite a few, to be fair. In particular, Blades fans had come out, and obviously we played in like bright yellow and bright blue. So if you saw a red and white striped shirt, it'd stand out at the stadium. So yeah, there was quite a few. I'd say 5 or 6 times where they come out to games, and it's nice to have a catch up. Nice to see a familiar face, especially at the start when I couldn't speak a word of Spanish. So it was nice to have an English conversation with someone in the crowd.
Did you pick up a bit?
Yeah, no. By the end of it, I was all right. I think it was one of them. I kind of had to, they're really proud of their language and kind of make an effort to speak Spanish over there, solely Spanish. So it was enjoyable to try and test myself, and that's one thing that since I've come over, trying to kind of carry on picking up.
Bit of Canarian as well. Did you get a bit of that, because it's slightly different, a bit of the dialect?
Yeah, the Canarian's crazy. When the Canarian lads are speaking to each other, I didn't have a word or anything to say. Spanish was all right.
Yeah. Now, you, of course, the king of the low sock wearers, but there's a few boys, Tyler Dibbling and others, trying to kind of step in. I mean, it has become a bit of a thing of yours, isn't it? Do you think it'll ever change?
No, I don't think it'd just be so alien for me now not to wear it. The story, actually, I was on loan at Chester when I was like 17 from Bradford in the conference, and they didn't really have much kit. And the obviously I'm skinny now, but I was skinnier back then, and the elastics had all gone from the socks, and they just kept falling down. So I think it was like my second game, I wore them down and scored my first professional goal. So I just kind of, then I've kind of kept it like that.
So it's a superstition thing. I didn't realise that.
Superstition now, more of just a comfort and just how I've always worn it. That's probably 13 years ago now, so it's for the last 13 years it's kind of how I've been doing it.
Yeah. You ever felt it's made you a bit of a mark man for centre halves to aim for the shins, or not?
I think kind of the other things that it would make me more of a mark man for a centre half than last off, if I'm being honest. But I think it all comes with the territory.
Yeah. Now, there's been a bit of talk about you again, because it's going well at Hull with Scotland and having qualified for the World Cup. I mean, you were part of the team that qualified for the Euros, so never say never, I guess. You'd be hoping you could get in the frame.
Yeah, definitely. I've said it many times before. For me, the pinnacle of football is representing your country. I've been lucky enough to do that on a few occasions, and the only way I can kind of force myself back into the manager's plans is by performing well for Hull City, and that's what I need to try and do.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at the fixtures now. I'm trying to think. Have you played Sheffield United yet? Is that upcoming? I take it you must have played them once.
Yeah, we beat them 1-0 at home. It was it was a weird experience for me. Obviously, seeing so many people there that I shared so long with. I was there 5 years. You know, it's a long time, and seeing all the people behind the scenes. Obviously, the manager that was there now wasn't there at the start of the season. But yeah, it was a strange experience for me, and nice to get the win on the day. But the return fixture at Bramall Lane will be even weirder. You know, going to see all the fans and stuff will be a strange one. But yeah, one I'm looking forward to.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Well, good to talk to you. And just a quick one on the boxing, actually. I saw you were retweeting our own Adam Cattrall after Dalton Smith's fight when he was in with Jim White and Simon Jordan last week. It was fantastic. So do you know him from your Sheffield days, do you?
Yeah, I've known Dalton from back in the Sheffield. He's the wrong side of Sheffield, unfortunately, but we won't hold that against him. He's a great lad, and I was delighted to see him get the win, and he was the underdog as well, which won me a bit of money at the weekend, so it was nice.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Yeah, he was on the pitch, wasn't he? I think the other day at Hillsborough.
Yeah, no, he went down to the game at the weekend. Good for him to get that reception in front of his home club. You know, he's to have a world champion from Sheffield again. Is massive for the city. It's a massive boxing city as well. So really happy for him, really happy for all the Sheffield, and I hope he gets that homecoming at Hillsborough that he deserves. Yeah.
Well, Ollie, lovely to talk to you. All the best for the rest of the season at Hull. Thanks for joining us. Good luck with Scotland. We'll keep our fingers crossed for you as well. All the best.
Thanks, boys. All the best.
Take care. There's Solly McBurnie there of Hull City. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Lots more to come between now and 4.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. With Paddy's Super Sub, your new bet rolls over to the new player coming on. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Time now for today's Bet Builder with our friends at Paddy Power. We welcome Fern Buckley once again. We look forward to tonight's game in the Premier League live on talkSPORT. The remaining match, Brighton take on Bournemouth at the Amex. Hi, Fern.
Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. So just briefly explain how the Bet Builder works.
Yes, we've all made some picks, added them together to get some overall value. Paddy Power had put a £10 bet down, hoping we get it right, because when we do, all the winnings go to the Attitude Foundation, who do great work with the LGBT community, and it happened last week, so we're on a roll at the moment.
Yes, well, 4 legs happened. I think somebody let us down. I don't know what to say. Really.
Oh, yeah, there's no names. We win as a team, we lose as a team.
Very much
exactly. Andy trying to do me dirty.
I think Brighton are going to win this, so what are the odds on that?
Yeah, well, they've not lost any of their last 4 matches. They're going to be confident off the back of that Manchester United game in the FA Cup, knocking them out. They've only been defeated just once in the last 14 matches at home since the beginning of last April. So they are on some great form at the Amex. Whereas Bournemouth go into the match having won just once in all competitions since the end of October. So, yeah, it's the most popular bet this afternoon on Paddy Power, and it's in at 4-5.
Yeah, I mean, Brentford and Bournemouth, apart from when they play Chelsea, are usually involved in quite good games. And they do score, so I reckon both teams will score tonight.
Yeah, and I like this a little bit more, being that Bournemouth fan of me. You know, I'd like to see a little bit of positivity, but it's a great bet actually for both these two teams. They're second and third for this bet coming in the whole league. So it's really great. It's happened in 4 of Brighton's last 5 matches in all competitions, 7 of Bournemouth's last outings. So Paddy Power this afternoon, it's on at 4-9.
Producer Sean has gone Danny Welbeck to have 1+ shots on target.
Yeah, I mean, speaking just a minute ago about that game against United, his goal against his former side, it was his 9th, the top goal scorer at Brighton. He's averaging just over 1 shot on target per game at the moment, and that's in at 4-11. He's a super sub as well, so if for any reason he comes off, Paddy Power, protect your bet.
What have the people gone for? The most popular bet, or one of the most popular bets among the Paddy Bet Builder punters firm?
I think they think Evan Nilsson's going to get a bit of a battering to be fouled twice or more in this game. It's a really popular one. He's another super sub, but he has been fouled 20 times in 19 Premier League games this season, just over 1 per game per 90 played. And in the reverse fixture as well, he was fouled 3 times, so it could happen again. And that's an 8-15.
Why has Bournemouth's form dropped off so badly? You're a fan. You should...
Well, I mean, lots has happened. We still had to try and recover from all the defensive players that we lost during the summer transfer window, and obviously Semenyo going now. That was a huge loss. But my bet is a good one because I believe in this guy. I think he could be the answer to a lot of problems. Junior Krupi to have 2 or more shots in this game. He impresses me every game he's involved in. He averages almost 3 shots per 90 minutes, and almost 2 of those are on target. So a really great market as well there. But for him to get 2 or more in this game is in 1-8, and he's a super sub as well.
Okay, so what are we looking at collectively on this bet?
Not too bad again for tonight, your Monday night. It all comes in at just over 5-1. So from a £10 bet, you get a return of £60. And if we get it right, hopefully one of us doesn't let us down, each other down. All the winnings go to the Attitude Foundation. Like I say, do great work with the LGBT community.
I think I've noticed sometimes we've had odds of 52-1 and 48-1. And you think to yourself, maybe we're being a bit bold by saying a meteor's going to hit the middle of the pitch in the 12th minute. I think these slightly safer parts of it
seem more sensible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the 4 or 5 shots on target that we know probably aren't likely to happen unless it's, a really obvious game. So let's try and keep it easy.
Let's hope so, yeah. Well, enjoy the game, but thanks very much.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
That's Paddy's Bet Builder for today. Minimum odds 1 to 5 for leg 18 plus begamblerware.org.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. With Paddy's Super Sub, your new bet rolls over to the new player coming on. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18 plus begamblerware.org.
I think the Tottenham players went out a bit late at the train, so let's hope we still hear from Thomas Frank very shortly. If we can, we'll bring you a little bit of that, man under pressure. Just a little insight into the mayhem at Spurs. Solanke, because he was injured, was originally taken out of the Champions League squad recently to allow Matis Tel, who'd been left out originally, to play. I think Tel's been involved in 2 games subsequently, and he's been one of Tottenham's better players, putting a shift in recently. Solanke has been coming off the bench looking like he's, he needs a few more games.
He's rusty,
Tottenham have 2 games left in the Champions League, Dortmund and Eintracht next week away. And they have decided today to take Tel out of the Champions League squad and bring Solanke back. So I'd like to think that we better start tomorrow night, because you'd be questioning that decision otherwise.
That's quite a strange decision.
Tel has been talking about trying to get more game time before the World Cup and try and work his way in. This feels like it's kind of putting him on the plane, really. Anyway, it probably wasn't an easy decision for Tottenham or Thomas Frank. I guess he'll be asked about it in the press conference. But we hope you bring you a little bit of that before 4 o'clock. You'll certainly get some in drive, if not with us. So that's all coming up. We're going to look ahead in a bit more detail with Adam Virgo, the former Brighton defender, at tonight's game between Brighton and Bournemouth, which is live on talkSPORT from 7.
We're told several senior Spurs players are not buying into Thomas Frank's methods and the dressing room's become a toxic place. Our chief football correspondent Alex Crook thinks it's a matter of when, not if, Frank goes. And head of Borussia Dortmund, Frank's missing a bunch of players.
Look, at least Mickey van der Ven, who for me is their best defender, so it's hard really to make a case for Spurs winning that game. If they lose again, I think his days are numbered, unfortunately, because I love Thomas Frank, but you have to admit it's just not worked out at all, has it?
Here's what the fans are telling talkSPORT today.
His football's too negative for a Tottenham team.
When is people going to learn and understand, right, that we are run badly?
Too many Spurs fans are absolutely deluded, thinking we've got some divine right to be challenging.
Spurs Dortmund is live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Now, former Crystal Palace coach Sean Derry's surprised Oliver Glasner's still in a job. That's after Glasner saying he felt abandoned. We're told West Ham's Callum Wilson isn't going anywhere this January following his late winner at Spurs. We understand Alexander Zinchenko could leave Nottingham Forest to join Ajax on loan. And Stuart Pearce has told White and Jordan, if you walk off the field, you should forfeit the game. That's after Senegal head coach Pape Thor led his side off in protest at refereeing decisions during the AFCON final.
I didn't see the issues that they took the players off the pitch for being that contentious that I thought, oh, he's got a point there. I could see why he done that.
Transfer window. Breaking news on talkSPORT with Intuit QuickBooks. Tackle your self-assessment with Intuit QuickBooks. Search QuickBooks to find out more.
Yes, time to look at some of the deals of the day with Intuit QuickBooks. We've just had a nice arty black and white video emerge on the Manchester City website in the last few seconds. You can probably guess who we're talking about. Alex Crook is here to confirm. So City have made a signing, Crookie.
Yeah, they have. Manchester City, one of the busiest clubs so far in this January transfer window, having already paid £64 million to sign Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth. Mark Gay, in the last few minutes, has been officially announced as a Manchester City player. As you say, there's a black and white video on City's social media accounts announcing this transfer, and an interview with Gay in which he said there'd been a lot of noise about his future, but once Manchester City came calling, there was only ever one answer. He said he's got used to that winning feeling, obviously having led Crystal Palace to FA Cup glory last season and victory at Wembley in the Community Shield. And he said he doesn't want to stop there. So Mark Gay, officially now a Manchester City player, as we were reporting on Friday. It's a £20 million fee initially, rising to close to £30 million with the add-ons, and he'll be earning around £300,000 a week.
You can see why they want him. I mean, Elaine.
No, it's a good move. Good move for him and good move for them. I'd love to know what City's net spend has been since last January. It seems, because that's what counts. It's not really. I mean, if you just take what they spend and not take what they bring in, that's not a good way to look at it. But it would be interesting because they seem to have spent an awful lot of money.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about what they're doing in this window is they're going for tried and tested Premier League players. It's not really a gamble, is it, on Mark Gay, because he's been there, he's got the T-shirt with Crystal Palace, he was one of the best centre-backs in the league last season, very key in their FA Cup final success against City, and I think probably if we were picking our England team for the first game of the World Cup, he would very much be the first defender on the team sheet, wouldn't he?
Yeah, good business for them. We're awaiting Thomas Frank. I think, Tottenham went out to train, looks like a little bit later, so I don't know if they're going to quite make that 3:30, but anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. It's going to be a very interesting press conference, and we know what the line of questioning's going to be. I was saying earlier on, it does feel a bit cowardly to me, this Cookie, that I kind of sense he'll probably go on Wednesday. The board are just hiding behind him because they're probably expecting, with all the issues Tottenham have got around injury and suspension and players not eligible to play, that they could get beaten tomorrow night, and so they would rather him take the flak, which I mean, look, he's not been blameless, but it does feel, as Danny Kelly said earlier on, a touch cruel.
Yeah, I think it does, because I'm a big admirer of Thomas Frank. I think he's proved himself to be a more than capable manager at his previous clubs. I think he's one of the gentlemen of the game, even in this intense pressure cooker situation that he's in. He hasn't turned on the media. He's tried his best to answer all the difficult questions with good grace. He's not hammered the fans or tried to go into conflict with them, even though he's being booed after every game. And I think you're right. I think if they do, as we expect, end up firing him after this Dortmund game and before they play Burnley at the weekend, then maybe that is a little bit unfair, because it does feel like he's a dead man walking, doesn't it? Certainly as far as the Spurs fans are concerned. And as we've been reporting on talksport.com today, there are a lot of senior players who I think have expressed their concerns about the direction the club is going to the board. And when that starts to happen, there's only ever going to be one fall guy, and that's the manager.
Now, West Ham, we'll come on to somebody who could be outgoing shortly, but it looks like they're doing a bit of business with Venezuela, much like Donald Trump. Kaiba La Madrid. He's a Kaiba, not a Kiba, so he's carrying up the Kaiba La Madrid. I've got to be honest, he wasn't on my radar. I don't know much about Venezuelan football. I know you're right across it, Crookie, so what do you make of it?
It's not my specialist subject either, to be honest with you, but it's not a signing that has particularly excited the West Ham fan base based on the reaction that I'm seeing. It's a loan deal with a £1 million option at the end of the season. Now, you don't get a lot in the Premier League these days for £1 million, so it does seem a rather bizarre transfer when West Ham obviously are trying to sign players who are going to help them stay in the Premier League. One player we expect to stay now is the man who wouldn't have been popular in your household around about 4:45 on Saturday afternoon. Callum Wilson, having scored that late winner against Spurs, I'm told he won't be going anywhere now. Crystal Palace made an inquiry for him over the last week or so, but David Sullivan has made it pretty clear that they need all hands on deck in terms of trying to pull off this relegation great escape.
It seems Forest are doing a bit of business. Lorenzo Luca, he's been on loan at Napoli. I think he scored 1 goal in 16 games, which isn't a glowing endorsement, but obviously they feel they can get a tune out of him. $1 million down for the loan, and I don't know if it's an option to buy or yeah. So again, I haven't seen much of him, Crookie.
No, I haven't either, but I was just looking at what Adam Summerton, who commentates a lot of Serie A football, was saying earlier, and obviously not this season, but previously. I think he scored a lot of headed goals. So he's a Sean Dyche type striker or type player in that regard. And I do think they need some bodies. It was a really good backs-to-the-wall performance against Arsenal at the weekend, but they are lacking at the top end of the pitch, particularly as Chris Wood has been injured.
So let's talk about Paquetá. It didn't play the other day. And so that looks like he's edging closer, that move back to Brazil.
Yeah, there seem to be positive noises coming from Brazil. I think Flamengo believe they can get a deal done for around the €40 million mark. They are readying a second offer, but it won't be much higher, we're told, than the first offer. The fact he didn't play at the weekend, even though I'm told Nuno Espirito Santo implored him to do so, I think tells you all you need to know. And maybe as a result of winning that game, perhaps Nuno is coming around to the idea that they can win games in the Premier League without Paquetá. There does come a point, doesn't there, especially if you're going to get a half-decent transfer fee, when it almost becomes pointless to try and keep a player against their wishes, particularly as Paquetá's not pulled up too many trees over the course of this season.
No, indeed.
True.
Jacquet, let's find out a bit more about him. Chelsea are in the market for a centre-half. He's not going to be cheap from Rennes, so what's the story there?
Yeah, again, I mean, I'm sure Andy has got a view on this, because most Chelsea fans and ex-players I speak to say they're crying out for a bit of experience, particularly in that centre-back area. So a 20-year-old from France, probably not what they had at the top of their wanted list going into this transfer window. And you're right, the fee will be significant. They got €64 million when they sold Jeremy Doku to Manchester City, and we're told they value Jacquet even higher than that. I'm not sure that Chelsea necessarily share that sentiment, but certainly this deal does appear to be advancing. He's made it clear that he wants to join Chelsea, he wants to join them in this window, even though there are other clubs who will come to the table come the summer, the likes of Arsenal and maybe the two big Spanish teams as well. One other name that's been linked with Chelsea is Marcus Senesi down at Bournemouth.
That'd be so much a better deal for Chelsea, honestly.
Much like you said about City being sort of Premier League ready.
He's Premier League ready. I've watched him a lot. He's a really good player. I mean, I doubt whether they'd let him go, but I also doubt.
No, well, that's what I was going to say. My information is that Bournemouth, having already sold Semenyo, lost a lot of defenders in the summer window. Even though he's out of contract at the end of the year and he's not going to sign a new deal, they've made it pretty clear to me they're not entertaining offers for Senesi in this window.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I don't think this deal will go through. I don't think Chelsea are going to pay over the top. If they can get the player at the right price, they'll do it. Otherwise, it'll go right down to the wire and they'll walk away, I think.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Good stuff, Cookie. Thanks very much. When's your notebook out next? What's the next one coming?
Be out tomorrow. And do you know what? I've already started compiling it, and there are There are a couple of nice little lines this week, including a potential replacement for Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace. So I'll just leave that one hanging.
Excellent. All right, it'll be on the website tomorrow at talksport.com. Cheers, Alex. Thanks a lot. So there we are. There's some lines emerging. Thomas Frank has sat down. He's talking to the press. They obviously asked him about the situation, and he said, "I'm feeling the trust along the way. I've just had lunch with Nick Vinay and Johan, or the hierarchy at the club, and it was all good, all part of the media circus." He says, "All I care about is winning against Dortmund." So, you know,
can't say anything but that in the club. You're right, what you're saying. Yeah, we'll see what.
Well, we'll see. Look, I mean, it depends. Maybe it does depend on what happens tomorrow night. But you know, they are behind the eight ball because they really are down to the bare bones at the moment. With Gray kind of limp through the players section the other day after the game. So, I mean, I think he was one of only two fit midfielders, along with Bergbar, either fit or eligible to play or not suspended or whatever. So. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be, I'm sure the Arsenal fans want to tune in to watch Tottenham going through it. It's on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Adrian Durham will be there with Jim Proudfoot and Danny Murphy. We've also got, Arsenal are playing, of course. They're playing in Milan. They take on Inter tomorrow evening on talkSPORT 2. And we got Bode Glimt earlier on. Bode Glimt on the old plastic pitch take on Manchester City. And that one is with Joe Shannon and Scott Minto. Before that, though, we've got Brighton Bournemouth. And we'll be having a chat with Adam Virgo very shortly and looking ahead to that game. That's with Adrian and the gang this evening. Sam Matterface and, once again, Danny on commentary duty. In the meantime, Andy, anything else you want to share with the class?
Yes, I quite like this bit I saw in the paper. It's about Greenland. It was a sort of travel piece yesterday. It said, "Now's the perfect time to sample its majesty." Oh, yeah, great. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah. Probably wouldn't be your first destination, right?
No idea, is it, really?
Yeah.
And... Oh, that's right. It's London's first £100 breakfast.
Oh, okay.
Do you pay £100 for breakfast?
Probably not. No. What is it? What is it? I mean, has it got? It's not one of those normal breakfasts with a bit of gold leaf on it. That's the way they always make something expensive, isn't it?
This is the description by the writer in the Mail on Sunday yesterday. Yeah. We started with a slice of Epiphany cake.
What's Epiphany cake?
No idea.
I bet it must have been an incredible moment.
Must have really just come to it.
Must have really just changed their lives.
From the Viennoiserie selection.
Oh, okay.
I am.
What a band they were. Remember, I'm doing a John Peel session.
Paired with cream-topped cold mocha, infused with Szechuan pepper, nutmeg and orange syrup.
So this is not
what I want for breakfast.
This is not a greasy spoon, is it? This is not double bubble.
It's £100 a head. Okay. Then comes the lobster croast. Toasted.
Not Tony Croast.
Toasted croissant, apparently.
Yeah.
Its delicate flavours of lobster, egg, tarragon, chervil, mustard, rocket and parmesan have my son
They were the back four, weren't they? Chervil, mustard, rocket and parmesan.
Tremendous players.
Yeah, they were really good.
After an exotic cheer pudding cleanser, palate cleanser.
Oh, yeah.
Really? My favourite course arrives. Eggs Royale on a lighter-than-air muffin. The Gossamer Hollandaise applied from a canister. By
canister?
Yeah. Not Gary McAllister. Yeah. By sous chef Nicholas Bossy.
What's he like?
He throws his weight
I
about.
bet he does in the kitchen. Yeah.
He spoons on 25 quid's worth of caviar.
See, that's the sort of shortcut cheats, isn't it? It's just like you just sling expensive ingredients on.
This doesn't sound great either. I toast it with a Kir Royale made with beetroot juice and zero alcohol bubbly. That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Christian opts for ravioli.
Who's Christian?
Her son.
Oh, okay.
Filled with black pudding. That's a strange one, isn't it?
For breakfast.
Yeah. Duxell's mushrooms.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are. And yolk.
I'll just have an egg, thanks. Just have a boiled egg.
Surrounded by a sausage reduction with...
What's a sausage reduction?
No idea.
Is it sausage without the sausage?
Chorizo and parsley.
Where is this place we're going to?
Where is it? It's the Pavilion. I think it's a famous restaurant, not Lord's.
Okay.
Unlikely. French toast rounds things off. Its sweetness brought out by a juice of coconut apple extract with apple cider vinegar.
I'd like to say you've made me hungry, but you haven't.
I know I haven't. I haven't made myself hungry either.
So, Adam Virgo going to join us for a chat next. We're going to look ahead to Brighton versus Bournemouth, the one remaining Premier League game this weekend, get his take on that. We will be hearing from Thomas Frank a little bit later on. He's giving his press conference ahead of the Dortmund game live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. He believes he can turn the Tottenham fans around. He said you need to show resilience. You have to maybe show a little bit more than that, but we shall see. Let's hope they get on the front foot tomorrow night, and if he's going to go out, he goes out butching Sundance. But we'll see. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT.
Because he did that a lot at Brentford.
He did, yeah. You can stay one step ahead, whatever the job. Next stop, Toolstation.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology. How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Their first line cross, the line of dummies, Welbeck fires it in! The former Manchester United man scores at Old Trafford!
I see a team with big big potential, and we proved it in every game so far that we can beat every team in the league.
What Brighton are, they're all very comfortable on the football, and it pays off.
Manchester City 1, Brighton 1. Karo Mitoma is the goal scorer. Tavernier on the charge. Ramsdale's come out. It's in. It's in. Tavernier for Bournemouth.
We've lost Antoine. We are very thin because our positions that you normally need to change, but we have to give everything we have, and then if it's not enough, it's not enough.
Monday night is game night on talkSPORT.
Yeah, expectation of goals tonight in the game between Brighton and Bournemouth. As you said, they're rarely boring, the Bournemouth games, aren't
No,
they?
but it's odd Bournemouth didn't have somebody lined up. They knew Semenyo was going. They've got 60-odd million quid to play with. It is the manager needs players. I don't understand these clubs. You'd think they would have had somebody lined up.
Yeah. Let's have a chat with Adam Virgo, the former Brighton defender. Hi, Adam.
Afternoon, guys. How are you?
Good, thank you. You expecting a sort of decent open game tonight?
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's the way that Brighton have been this season. I think under Fabian Herzler, I think 70% of the games they've scored and conceded. So Brighton are always one of those sides that do give you an opportunity and chance, but when they do get things right, like they did against Manchester United in the FA Cup, and with this magnificent home record that they've had in the Premier League, really, for the last couple of seasons, especially under Fabian Herzler, I think only Villa have come to the Amex and come away with something in terms of a win. It's going to be a difficult night for Bournemouth, but if Brighton can find 3 points this evening, then it edges them slightly closer to European football, maybe.
It's Karo Mitoma's 100th game tonight. I think I saw his debut when he came on as a sub against Spurs in a 1-0 defeat to Brighton. But even then, in that little cameo, I did say to Paul Barber afterwards, wow, what a player you've got there. You could see it. And he's been fantastic for Brighton, hasn't he?
Yeah, he most definitely has. And I think the importance of him has really been shown in terms, I think, a bid from Saudi came in for him and they turned it down, which I think showed the importance of what he is to the side. He always gives a great outball for Brighton in terms of creating something. I have been sometimes slightly critical of him. I do think he could find more goals maybe from maybe the opportunities and chances that he finds himself in. However, I mean, when you think about the goal against Chelsea, I think the goal away at Wolves in particular, there is a brilliance within the player there, and I know Brighton fans have really, really taken to him. I know he's a real fan's favourite within the club, and if they can keep him fit and get him back fit again, then it's only going to be a positive for Fabian Herzler in this second half of the season.
Goals for Brighton against Chelsea don't actually count. You do know that, because that's the only team they put more effort into that game than any other game in the season.
Do you think so? Well, it's just playing against all their old chums, isn't it?
And also hoping for a move,
like an inter-club match. Talking of which, Balaba's back, isn't he? Which is good, and Minte's back as well. So, as you said, they're getting some back. There was a bit of talk about, one or two clubs coming in for some of Brighton's crown jewels, but that all seems to have got a bit quiet. Are you expecting the same team to start February, Adam?
Yeah, I think so. I think with mistakes have maybe been made when key players have been sold at different stages of the season, which I don't think really helps with the stability of the club, really. The squad is what it is, and I think like when you see with Bournemouth, Brighton are in a similar situation. You lose those key players at key stages of the season. However good at Brighton are at finding these gems in and around the continent, in and around the world, to find them at this stage of the season, especially in January, is never going to be easy for them. So I think Baleba coming back into the side, I think would be a massive bonus for them. I think he's had a lot of interest with him in this season, and it maybe have affected some of his performances, but to have him back, Minte, I think, is top assist maker in the group this season, so it'll be important as well. But Brighton need that continuity of a settled 11 and a fully fit squad of players for Fabian to select from, because it is obvious if Danny Welbeck's injured, they're a different side. If Balaba's missing, they're a different side. If Lewis Dunk's missing, they're a different side. So those key players are really important for them to keep and stay fit.
Yeah, you mentioned Danny Welbeck. It was great against Manchester United in the Cup. I mean, we heard Tuchel talking about him, saying we know what he can bring to a team. So you do wonder whether he might get a look in. If he doesn't get in these next friendlies, that ship has sailed. But, I mean, you can really make a case for him going to the World Cup, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, he's done everything right. I think the other side of him, he's a great character as well in terms of what he brings into the dressing room. I think you don't hear anything about him. He just seems the consummate professional in everything that he does in terms of his training and his effort. And I actually honestly think for the injuries that he's had throughout his career, I honestly think Brighton are getting the best out of Danny Welbeck, and I think they're getting the best version of Danny Welbeck. He's a quality player, and I think when I've seen him play live, I just think that the difference that he brings to Brighton completely transforms in terms of where they are in that final third. In terms of reliability and form players, then if there is going to be a manager that's going to maybe go for a squad of players going into a World Cup that seems less than safe, where maybe I feel some World Cup squads and Euro squads in the past have been a little bit safe. The obvious names are going to go. But I think under Thomas Tuchel, if there is going to be a change in the guard and there are going to be certain players coming into this squad that maybe would not have got to look under Gareth Southgate, then I think Danny Welbeck's doing everything that he can to give himself the best opportunity of a World Cup. I personally would take him, in my opinion, but of course it's down to Thomas to make that decision.
Sure. Well, he has talked about people of good character almost as important as the way they play.
You sense he'd be a good tourist.
Would fit into that, no
definitely.
question.
Well, Adam, enjoy the game tonight. All the best. Thanks very much.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Adam Virgo there, the former Brighton defender. That one's live from 7 o'clock on talkSPORT with Adrian Durham, your host for that one. Thomas Frank been chatting in his press conference. I'm sure you'll hear some in Drive a little bit later on. He was asked whether he could win the fans back. He said, as long as we win football matches and make sure we win enough of them, everyone will support us. He's also said he's only got 11.
Well, that is true.
Well, yeah, I mean that, but
Spurs won 3 or 4 games on the bounce.
Yeah. At the moment, you wonder where those wins are coming from. Partly down to the style of football. He says he has 11 fit players available for the game tomorrow. First team players. Xavi Simons will play in pain because he's got an ankle issue, but he wants to play. He said, yes, we need everyone to support us from minute one, especially the team, especially the players. If we get that support, anything can happen. Magic can happen. Well, you might watch the magic happen. Well, you'll certainly hear it on talkSPORT tomorrow evening from 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock kickoff. That's one of 3 games we're going to bring you tomorrow night, along with Arsenal at Inter and earlier on Bodeglimt versus Manchester City. But as we said, tonight we'll kick off with a remaining Premier League game, Brighton versus Bournemouth. Coming up next, to build up to that and look at all the other big stories of the day. I'm sure they'll be talking about Mark Gay's move, which was confirmed just under half hour ago, and Thomas Frank and all the other stories. It'll be Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent with Drive. Till then, we'll catch up with you tomorrow.